Hi. I was just a talking and a talking. Thank you so much. I said hi to you though. How are you doing? How's it going? I'm just giving everybody a chance to come in. Come on in, say your hellos, grab your seat, get comfy. I don't know if it's gonna be long or not. We got a good amount of things. I'll probably have some things that I already have queued up to go ahead and share. Hey, Run and Tell. But I may, peruse the social media outlets I've been on getting things. But I think I have enough to talk about. I have my book this time. So how about last time when I was talking about Ashley, I had notes that I wanted to like put towards my book. Hey TT, oh, you on your way to work? Well, be careful. Hey Bullet Bagnet, Alicia. Hi everybody. Come on in. Um I was saying my book, I was supposed to use my book last time to like help with my commentary because I'm also supposed to be like promoting my book, which I never do. So I remembered to do it this time. I have my notations and stuff, so I'll be able to do my official job by talking about this. And I think it's important to like we can talk about this before I do hi Ami, before I get into everything and start talking about it because um and this is also for people who are like just coming, who never been here before, whatever that may be watching this. So this channel is called Level Up Single Mom. I used to do a lot of live streams where I would get like really in depth about certain subjects and tie them into single motherhood in the Black community, the ways that we are stereotyped as single mothers and the ways that can be challenging emotionally, mentally. I also talk a lot about the experience of being a single mother in terms of regrets, in terms of, not necessarily being the happiest about being a mother and not really knowing what to do with those feelings and like running for those feelings. Thank you so much, Runtel. Um, and how to process that stuff. So being that today, you see the thumbnail, today's subject is about DDG and Halle Bailey and just the things that are being disclosed about her state of mind, things that she said she was going to do to herself, things she said she was going to do as far as the pregnancy. I think this is a perfect time to kind of like get back into talking about those things in the way that I would talk about those things. And I think that's an important um, segue in, or it's important to note because when we're having these discussions, I'm seeing people discussing these ways. It's like one or the other. You know what I mean? Like either she's all right and he's all wrong, or he's all right and she's all wrong. And everybody's looking for some kind of leverage. Like I was having these conversations. I won both conversations too. I was having these conversations from yesterday into today. It is a sad situation and it was completely preventable. But I was having conversations from yesterday into today about this on Twitter with men. But at the end of the conversations, both of the guys that I was like chatting, going back and forth with, were like, you know what, you're right. I can't even say nothing because, and we'll get into what my thoughts are about the situation. But like, I know we were talking in the Discord earlier today, and I was sharing some of my experience of what it's actually like when you have a baby by this person, and this person has expresses that they don't no longer want to be with you for whatever reason, and you're grappling with that, whether you that matters to you too much or not. But you're just like, okay, I'm about to be the dreaded single mother. How am I going to handle this? You're trying to co-parent, you're trying not to stand in the way of this Black man and their child, and all of these things. Hey, wake up. Oh, I'm glad you can make it. And this person or these people, it could be his family too, are throwing all of these things at you, all of these tropes, all of these things that you don't want to be, all these things you don't want to be seen as, telling you it's bitter. Hey, fitness. Yep. Almost Friday. Happy almost Friday. They're calling you bitter, or you don't want to be bitter, do you? You don't want to be a bitter baby mom that's just keeping the child because you're just mad he moved. Like, there's so many things that they will throw at you that can knock you off your square and just put you in a really bad state of mind. This is on top of just having to deal with the loss of the vision you had for your family and what was supposed to happen if, when, by you having this child. So it's going to be heavy. Trigger warning for everybody. I think it's going to be heavy. I would hope that you can hear me. Like Alicia says, you can hear my heart. Disclaimer, anything that I say in terms of things like Halle could have done differently, or choices she made that weren't the best, I have no investment in like trying to lift myself up over her. She is and was and will remain miles ahead of me in terms of how well she had the potential to do by having her child when she had her child and everything like that. Like, she is a world-renowned star. She is, I won't even say at the height of her career. She's at the height of her career to date, but she has so much right. Everybody exactly. Listen, well, some do and some don't. Some people are, being reasonable, but some aren't. But my point is, hey Kenny, my point is that she, of all the girls out here in the world that are having babies before their time, having babies with weirdos, whatever like that, she was in a great position to be able to say that she could be okay were she to have her child at that time in her life. So who am I to sit and try to say, oh, that's why she should do this? Who am I to wag my finger? 2 kids in, different fathers, this and that and the other. So anything that I'm saying in terms of like looking at her, this is not I'm not holding her accountable. I don't have the authority to do that, nor does anybody else, for real. But I am going to be discussing some of the things that she did that were ill-advised, and discussing them in the sense that, she could have pivoted. My intention in talking about it in this way is that, even by talking about this at all, is that hopefully, for the same reason I wrote this book, that young girls and women that are in the positions that she has been in every step of the way, that maybe they can make a different decision. If they were to look at this situation, if they were to hear me talking about it, if they were to see it, that they can see in their own situation a different alternative for things that I have done and things that she has done to date that has gotten her the results she has at this moment. Oh yeah, she's really, really young. And like I said, she's doing way better at that point. Like, she has so many different opportunities at her feet right now than I did when I was having my oldest daughter. So it's just like, but my heart aches for her in just I know what it's like to be a quote unquote good girl with a bright future, and to do the bad thing, and what that does to the psyche, what that does to that sense of identity, what that can do. And the stuff, and we'll get into it, because the stuff he disclosed as a means of like exposing her really just kind of paints a different picture than I think he thought would be painted. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead. We got a nice little bit of people. Welcome to anybody who hasn't been there. I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna do the intro, and then sorry, anybody who knows what was that called? Dude, where's my car? We're going to go ahead and get started. But yeah, say hi to everybody, and let me know what you guys are having for dinner tonight, whatever's going on, and I'm gonna get this together right now. This is a mother.
No problem. You in charge of the girls, right? I am in charge of the girls. Are you in charge of the girls? I am in charge of the girls.
Okay, so mind you, the thing is in the mid that was in the middle of the that was in the middle of the screen because and now this goes back out. This thing is so wacky, but as you can see, I'm using a green screen. And I'm trying to like do different things or whatever like that. But it's not the green screen part is not quite big enough. If you notice, and of course I'm drawing your attention to it, right? But the green screen is not quite big enough, so I like adjusted the screen in here. But apparently, when I go back and forth between screens, it changes. So why it made that small, and I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right. So today we are talking about Halle Bailey and DDG. Um, these are young people. Well, he's young. They're young. They're younger than me. Everybody's younger than me. But he's about 27, 28, and she's like 20, anywhere between 23 and 25, I think. I don't remember. I know she's younger than him and he's like 27. So they are, I was going to say they're both successful in their respective fields. I mean, they are. He's a successful streamer. She is the Little Mermaid, voice of an angel. And they somehow managed to cross paths, got together, were together for a couple years, maybe a year or two. And then she got the Little Mermaid. She was doing the press run for the Little Mermaid. Everything was going beautifully for her in her career. She has the endorsement of the Beyonce, her and her sister, and she was on an upward trajectory. And apparently, he was not comfortable with that. He seemed to be acting out um, when it was her time, to advertise the movie when she was doing her press run and everything. And there was so much buzz about her. There was so much buzz about her and her co-star, the guy that played Prince Eric. I don't know his name. And people were just saying, oh, they look cute together, whatever, like that. But even without that, she still was just getting so much attention. And he seemed very bothered by it, but specifically by the idea that she was spending time with other men. He was so bothered to the point where he made a song about it. Hey, Jamal. Oh, you having spaghetti, Alicia? That's wonderful. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot. Welcome to Level Up Single Mom. This is the platform where I teach single mothers and Black women how to self-actualize with ease and grace. So put that in front of everything I just said before that. And now we're back on that. And so during this time, like I said, DDG seemed to be going through it in terms of being jealous, in terms of being uncomfortable with the amount of, he's a rapper, he's a streamer first, and he raps, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So yeah, but they were having some struggles, and then there started to be rumors that she was pregnant, and she denied it. She didn't deny it outright, but she did, and we'll get into that, like in terms of what I feel like this says about both her and him. She was like being coy about it and not really, addressing it. But people were seeing her. People were seeing her face looking different. People were seeing her wearing, these big clothes. She's a very petite girl. So now all of a sudden she's wearing these, bigger, flowier dresses. She's doing all of these things. And then eventually it got to the point where she was so big, they saw them going to the doctors and she was just clearly, undeniably pregnant. But by then she was really big. And then she had her baby, and he is just the cutest little thing. He is just a sweetheart. And I'm trying to be, again, because it's not, but I'll just say this. When I saw him with his father, because for a long time I just always saw him with his father. I did not see him with her too much, and that's not me saying that I felt like she wasn't there. But again, Little Mermaid, like she was doing a lot, she was working a lot. So I figure he don't do nothing but stream, so why wouldn't his son be with him? But I personally, as an internet auntie and a mama myself and stuff like that, I did the thing within the parasocial relationship where I was just like, okay, I'm not going to bend myself up out of shape about her having gotten pregnant by this man. The baby's here. So there's no point in me being like, oh, that's the baby. So I tried to take my joy in what I was seeing, which was that he seemed really psyched about having a son and having his baby with him. And so I tried to just enjoy the content that I would see of them two together. But I couldn't help but notice, again, as a internet auntie, as a mommy, all those things, as an older woman, significantly older than them, technically could be, no, not really, because my daughter is 21, but still, older than them. I noticed that I felt like the baby was just overstimulated. And that's me just putting it lightly. I felt like the baby was overstimulated. I felt like he was doing too many things. And there was even a point in time where he himself was like, you know what, maybe I'm doing too much. Right. But the baby just always seemed annoyed because he was always in the baby's face. He was always just talking to him when he was trying to watch TV or something. He was always putting him in these little positions. I remember one time he had him in a car, and I don't know how he actually made it work, but it looked like the car was remote and he was like, a real car, not like a baby car, a real grown people car. And he made it look like the baby was driving and the baby was the only person in the car from what we could see. But it was stuff like that, like he would do, and the baby was months old. And so for me, again, as the internet, thank you, Themis, as an internet auntie, I just was like, I don't like this, but this is the baby's father, so okay, like just letting it be. Because what can I say? What can I do? Baby's here, yada yada. But yeah, I noticed that, and I still kind of kept that. It still was like a ha ha. Look at that. Oh, that's how dads are, again, because I can't do nothing about it. So why bend myself out of shape and be talking all crazy about it and putting negativity out there in the world towards her? Then I started seeing posts of the baby with her, by themselves. And it was a completely different baby. Because I was thinking, oh, you know what? She said, why is Steve? Now, look here. Are you a mod? Worry about that. What was I saying? That threw me off. So then I started seeing videos of, hey, Jessica. Then I started seeing videos of Halle with the baby. And Halle would be with the, and the baby would be smiling. He would be animated in a way. Mind you, it was months and months and months of seeing DDG with that baby. And the baby would give him nothing. You know what? The baby just be looking at him. The baby would be mushing him in the face. The baby would just look so annoyed. And now I'm seeing this, and he's like a real baby. He's laughing. He's giggling. He's running around. He's doing different things. I'm like, okay, yeah. DDG is probably getting on his nerves over, like, it was just a confirmation is what I'm saying of what I was feeling as someone who's been around babies, as a mother, as an internet auntie. I was just like, I don't feel like the baby is as comfortable with him as he could be because of how this person acts. But again, ain't nothing I can do. So I'm not bending myself out of shape. So now I want to kind of go back. We miss you. So where you been at, girl? Now I want to kind of go back a little bit to before Halo. Actually, was this before their relationship? I think this is before their relationship. And the reason that I'm saying it is because this is going to set the foundation for wait, let me pull it up first. This is going to set the foundation for everything that I'm going to be talking about, because this is a case study. This is my new thing I'm doing. I'm using case studies using my book. This is Level Up, the Single Mother's Guide to Reclaiming Her Dignity. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the thing? I'm doing so many things right now. Bear with me. So this is for the ebook. Is it? Oh, that's not the right one. Hold on. This is for the paperback. So you can go ahead and do that. And this is for the ebook if you want to get your own copy of Level Up, the Single Mother's Guide to Reclaiming Her Dignity. And you might want to get it because I will be doing more of these case studies using the book, so you might want to be able to follow along. I'm just saying, you ain't got to. You can kick it anyway. But yeah. But hold on, I'm going to pull this up. So what I'm pulling up now as like a reference to how I came to know DDG and like his family and stuff. I hope it doesn't start making a bunch of noise. Hold on. Hold on, Woo Wop. Don't say nothing. Hold on, Woo. In fact, I'm gonna put you on mute real quick. Y'all get out the way. Notifications. So this clip I'm going to show you is of this DDG's nephew. Why is it still up here? I want to take this down. Of DDG's nephew, they call him Woo Wop. Woo Wop is his brother's son, and his brother is currently like has some stuff going on because his baby mom is not. But this kind of ties into that because like his nephew is talking to his dad about how his dad treats his mother. And this is years ago. I want to say this is anywhere between like 2020 and 2021. Anywhere between 2020 and maybe like 2022, I'll say. Because it was a few years ago. Okay.
And now I know. Grow up and want to be like you.
Huh?
I used to grow up and I wanted to be like you. Grow up and want to be like you.
Huh?
I used to grow up and I wanted to be like you.
Okay. That makes sense.
And now I know.
What you mean you don't want to be like me? Who you want to be like?
You're an awesome dad. You give me everything I want, but you don't know how to treat women. There's only one in this family that their girlfriend don't appreciate them. You never want to hold your girlfriend's hand or walk with her or take her on a date. You always act like you're the head of the relationship. Moo know how to treat people. He took his girlfriend to Mexico just because. Moo know how to treat his girlfriend. Aries know how to treat his girlfriend. George know how. But you don't. You're the only person in this family that don't know how to treat a girl.
I don't know, because I'm not sweet? Because I'm not sweet, you don't want to be like? You don't want to...
That's the whole point of getting a girlfriend. Cause if my mama, she was always rude to you, you wouldn't even want to be with her, would you? Would you?
No.
Exactly. So why do you think she would want to be with you if you was nice? Explain. Now you just want to sit there looking dumb. Because people are always trying to not hurt your feelings and tell you everything that's not what you really are.
Dude. Should Skylar leave? Like...
I'm not playing. I'm serious.
So when you grow up, you want to act like Moo when it comes to relationships.
Yes.
And I help you with nothing with relationship-wise. Because I said I like holding people's hand. My mama never rocked me to sleep.
Yeah, because you didn't ask her to.
So that's something you don't like about me?
What's the point of being in a relationship if you're not gonna be in a relationship for the reason you're supposed to be in one?
And what's the reason?
What's the point of being in a relationship if you're not gonna be nice? That's the whole point. No girl is gonna want you, because if you and my mama break up, you're gonna be single. No girl gonna want you after I see how you act.
Because I don't want to hold somebody's hand?
No girl is gonna want you after my mama break up. Watch. When y'all break up and you try to get another girlfriend, they all gonna reject you. You're gonna be sitting there looking dumb, cause you don't got no girlfriend, cause you want to act all tough.
I mean, that's kind of weird. This is.
Now, mind you, yeah, that's DDG's brother. Right there, Woo Wop. I want to say he's like maybe 7 or 8. This was years ago. This was, like I said, this had to be like 2020 or to anywhere between 2020 and 2022. That I saw this. Now, mind you, this was coming on the ends of, I don't know if y'all remember, it was him, the little baby. He was the kid that was saying, I want to kill my mom. I want to kill my dad. Remember that whole situation? That was him. But that was at the behest of DDG. Because I remember DDG and his dad was like talking about it, because there was a lot of backlash about that, because people was like, oh, this baby saying that thing is demonic, yada, because he had on the whole like little emo outfit and everything. Like, it was a bit, it was a stunt that DDG had put the baby up to in order to troll people, get attention, yada, yada, yada. So that is how I found out about DDG, about Woo Wop, about all of them, any of them. And this was before, at least a year or some, probably a little bit more before him and Halle were together. What did Jamal say? I don't see anything he said. Oh, wait. So then right off the back of that, like I said, I see this. And I remember thinking to myself, good night, TT. Thank you for coming. And be sure to watch the replay. It'll be up. I remember being like, oh, wow, it's really crazy that baby has to set that man straight. But that stuck in my mind. So when I found out that Halle Bailey was going out with DDG, I was like, I don't know, because I'm looking at the family. This was completely unrelated stuff. I'm looking at the family. Like I said, that's how DDG got on my radar. So then from there, it was like DDG. I started seeing how people were responding to DDG, how people were talking about him, and basically, like, there were people at that time that just really didn't like him. That was the first time I heard people refer to him as doo-doo garbage. I thought that was the funniest shit. I'm not even gonna lie. I was tickled. Right. But again, I don't know these people like I didn't watch any of his streams. I didn't know him like that, but I understood that he was a popular streamer and that he was known as a bit of a troll. So that was my understanding. Then fast forward to he's dating, I was gonna say Ashley, girl. He's dating Halle. So he's dating Halle, and people are like, oh, that's not a good look. Halle, you can do better than him. Halle, you shouldn't really get with him. He's kind of weird, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, she didn't say anything. For the longest time, she wasn't saying anything. She just like, that's her boyfriend. She's taking him to the Oscars. She's taking him to wherever she's at. He's there with her. It wasn't until the whole situation with Ruby Rose, when Ruby Rose came out and was saying to, all of us, but specifically kind of to Halle, like, hey, look, watch out for him, because he was in my DMs trying to get back with me. Y'all must have been, and let me pull that up. Yeah, this is it. This the one. Hold on. I'm about to share this with y'all. So she comes up and she says, she makes a post. She says, "This is why I'm single." And if you can, she says, "This is why I'm single." See, it's at Ruby Rose. And this is, it says DDG right here. It says Tuesday. You still in LA? This is him asking her. She says, "Yeah." He says, "Where you at?" I guess that's supposed to be where you at. And she says, "Getting ready. How about you?" And he says, "Hitting." She says, "You hitting me the day y'all argue with So You." Because I believe, there was stuff going on social media. So people knew kind of that things were happening with him and her. It was like some static. And so she alludes to that in the text message to him. And he says, "LOL, you right. Let me go heal first." But she posts it. I don't see no problem. He gave her that fodder, but she posts it. So she posts it. This is Halle's response to her posting it, because people were tagging her, people were letting her know, hey, this is what's going on. This is her response to Ruby Rose. She says, "The devil is working. Please don't feed into the lies, especially from a third party. Stay blessed, everyone." So this is at the time when people are trying to say, hey, girl, you might not want to be dealing with him. Look at what he's doing. She's like, "No, my man, my man, my man." Which, fair enough. If you choosing to be in a relationship, you need to be, I feel like you should be all in. Ain't no straddling. Ain't no reason to be fighting. Ain't no reason to be, you cheating on me, this and that and the other. If you're not leaving, whatever. And so this is what she does. This is his response to it. Actually annoying, but whatever. This is his response to Ruby Rose putting that out there. "Don't believe that demon. I rebuke in the name of Jesus." Okay, now mind you, this is her showing her text messages. This was her showing her text messages. So this is a situation where someone is presenting information to you about what's going on. Y'all are together. You are choosing to stand by your man, which is fine. Again, I ain't got nothing, you ought to believe the man that you love, right? Okay, but that's that. Later on down the line, like I said, she's got the Little Mermaid going on. She's getting her shine. First thing he does is he's doing a interview somewhere, and they ask him about like how he feels. Is he proud of her or whatever? And he's like, "Oh, I've never seen the Little Mermaid." And maybe he hasn't. Who knows? I doubt it. Everybody kind of knows but it's possible. There are things that people don't know, certain cartoons or whatever. He was a boy. Honestly, he seemed like he comes from a family that might have been like, "Oh, you a boy, you don't do that." So whatever, possibly okay. But not being able to just say, "Hey, you know what? I've never seen it myself." It wasn't even it felt like a downplay at the time when he said it. It felt like he was like kind of diminishing it, downplaying it, whatever. But okay, we get past that moment. She starts doing the press tour. She's going around. She's being photographed with her co-star. People are saying she looks so cute with him. She should be with him and not DDG. All these things. I get it. That can hit you right here. You know what I mean? That can hit you right here as her boyfriend. But instead of just talking to her about it and leaving it between her and him, he decides to make this whole thing. He's making posts on Twitter. He makes a whole song where he's basically accusing her of sleeping with her co-star or co-stars, just making this big deal out of her being active, but you already knew when you met her because she was on Grownish, had a whole boyfriend on Grownish, the character had a whole boyfriend on Grownish. Like, you met her, she was an actress. You met her, this is her career. So you know who she is and what she does. But you're doing this whole bit during the time when she is promoting The Little Mermaid. So you know that you are being a distraction to what's going on with her, because now you are associated with her. This situation is associated with her. And so now you're doing this thing, getting clout off of her, let's be honest. And you're doing it. And people are saying, hey, Halle, we don't think he's a good fit for you. See this thing he's doing? It doesn't seem like he is someone who is considerate of you. It doesn't seem like he's someone who can rock with you as you grow, as you do your thing. Yeah, the treatment Halle got, the racial slurs, people were degrading her, but she was playing a Little Mermaid, and HGTV did not support her emotionally. Instead, he gets onto him. But exactly, like when he could have been, because this is just the him stuff. She was going through so much at that time in terms of the racial things and people just being so mean and nasty, talking about her looks, and we'll get back to that, talking about her looks, just dragging her so bad. And instead of him just being there for her and being supportive to her, he was yet another thing that she had to like deal with and grapple with during that time. And that really sucked. And people were noticing and people were saying things. And she was just like, hey, kind of like mind your business. This is my life. And I'm not saying it wasn't her life, but this is my life. Mind your business. This is my man, blah, blah, blah type of thing. Okay. So then that kind of goes away. Not too much longer after. I feel like it was still like overlapping in time in terms of her promoting The Little Mermaid and stuff. But then they went on a trip somewhere. They were at one of his houses or something happened. And there was a picture of her in the background. And it looked like she had a little bump. And so now people are speculating, is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? And so people are talking about her being pregnant, this and that is going on. And she's just kind of laughing it off, like, oh, people make things up and yada, yada, yada. She's never saying straight up no, but she's never saying straight up yes. Now, it is her business. It was not our business. She did not owe it to us. But the way she was handling it, because it was like, for me, and this is where I'm getting in, and I hope people again will hear my heart and understand me, but this is just for me in terms of looking at the personality types. This, I feel like, was the first time that I felt like she's kind of with the shits. And the reason I say that is because the way people were saying, hey, we see you looking pregnant. Like you look pregnant. Your face looks pregnant. Your nose is kind of spreading a little bit. This and that and the other. Because we've been around pregnant people. We know how pregnancy can look and what it can do to the body and this and that and the other. We know what you look like very well. And you're looking different. So it's giving pregnant. And she's gaslit. She was gaslighting us. I'm not even going to lie. She was gaslighting us. She was just like, oh, you guys, I'm a black woman. And like, she really was going hard in the paint with this whole narrative of like, oh, you guys are just doing too much and you're making things up. That was when I first was like, okay, girl, you know what I mean? Because again, it's not about me saying you owe it to us to tell us your medical history, your business, your pregnancy. You do not owe us any of that. But when there's a fine line between like just maintaining your privacy and being a gaslight. To me. Hey, welcome. Who said that? Miss Fadair, welcome. Glad to have you. Yeah, like she was deflecting. Again, this is not me saying that she should have just told us all our business and she owed us every single detail and this and that and the other, but it was just something about the way she was doing it. I was like, it's giving troll. It's giving they might be soulmates. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, okay, girl, cool. I wasn't familiar with your game, but do you? So then finally, she said, that's correct. That did happen. So then I'm like, finally, yeah, later on, and well after the fact, after the baby's out, we love them, this and that and the other. She comes out and shows she had Photoshop pictures. So I'm saying, like, she was going hard in terms of doing this thing where it's like, you're not seeing what you see. Again, this is not about me saying she owed us anything in terms of telling her business, but don't try to tell me I'm crazy with I'm seeing what I see. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's when I kind of be like, on people. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So then I don't remember exactly when it was Ruby Rose. I think Ruby Rose was just she was crashing out on people because she was crashing out on, like, she was really like shade, like, how dare you, and you're just mean and you're just making things up type of thing. And it was just like, okay, girl. And then at some point Ruby Rose came out. I don't even think Ruby was like, oh, hold on, y'all. I am cracking up. Hold on one second. Yes, I'm exposed, girl. That was them. They working. She said, oh, you want to talk about me? She used a Beyonce connection. Hold on. All right, I'm about to peek again and see if it's working. If it's not working, guess what? Guess what? Actually, if it's not working, I'll take this shit right on down because it really ain't nothing wrong. Up, see, yeah. Sometimes you gotta talk shit to the stuff because they be trying to play you. But I would have ripped this thing right down on the camera because it ain't nothing but my regular background. It ain't nothing but my regular background. That you always see. So that was funny. What the heck was I saying? Oh yeah, so I felt like she was gaslighting us. Then Ruby Rose came and was like, um, she had an interview and people were like asking her different things and stuff like that. And she was talking about different people that she had dated basically when she was too young and different stuff that was going on. And she had mentioned that she was abused by DDG. And she was talking about it, and like different people were saying things. And so she eventually was showing like pictures, and I'm not going to show the pictures or whatever, but again, she was coming out online. And this was around the time that DDG was kind of cutting up with Halle and stuff too. And she was showing like how she had been abused and things, bruising on her body, different stuff. She also says that she was posting pictures of the abuse and stuff to her close friends. And she says Halle was in her close friends. I mean, girl, yes. It was like, oh, you think you want to be great? You think you want to talk shit? Okay, here you go. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So you can hide your pregnancy if you want to, but once the jig is up, it's up at some point. Crashing out was unnecessary. Yeah, it was just the way she was act like as if we were supposed to act like, oh, we don't see it, we don't know, she's not pregnant. But and she was doing a whole interviews and stuff. I remember it was her and the girl that did Snow White. They did an interview and she had on like this little, it was a short dress because she would wear little short dresses that would be like just above her knee and stuff like that because she is a gammy body type. So she's very short and compact and had the little things on. But her stomach, like it was clear that she had a stomach. So then Ruby Rose was expressing the fact that DDG had gotten physical with her. And Halle was just having none of it. It is what it is. Now, I will say that with the new developments, she it kind of makes more sense to me in the respects of like the stuff that I talk about in my book about how you get caught up with your baby father and what happens in your brain once you become or you're scared of becoming the dreaded single mother. So let's see here. I want to read this part of my book just to kind of set the tone again. For some of you who weren't here, I made a disclaimer earlier when I'm talking about the things that we could say Halle did, quote unquote, wrong. I'm not talking about those things to revel in and be like, ha ha, that's what you get. You know, I told you so. But it's more so of hopefully if there's other women that are in the position she was in at every step of the way, that they can see this, they can see her situation and just be like, okay, I don't have to go that route. So when I'm talking about this stuff, this is why I want to do this part of the book, because I want to set the tone for like how I feel like what we're doing in this space. I know what other people are doing. I've seen what some other people are doing, how they're talking about it. But I want to set the tone for what my intentions are in this space. I always say Level Up Single Mom is a place where women can come and take off their armor so that we can discuss these things, you know, in a real way, but they can maintain their dignity. I'm not trying to strip away anybody's dignity. Oh, thank you, Essential. I look forward to seeing you more. So I'm going to say, the bond is the veil you must lift from your face in order to exercise the control over your actions required to shape your reality with intention. The bond is distraction. The bond is delusion. The bond is drama. The bond is escape. We use the bond to justify nonsensical behavior and irresponsibility. That's right. You are being irresponsible by not establishing and maintaining proper boundaries with your child's father. Hurt feelings and petty arguments ultimately hurt the children more than the adults involved and are easily avoided when the lanes of all parties are clear and everyone stays in them. Lifting the veil is not about rehashing what he's done to you. It's about acknowledging what you didn't do to prevent it, taking accountability for that, forgiving yourself, and being proactive about preventing it in the future. In a real way. Thank you, Themis. Now, having said that, I do want to highlight that I feel like Halle's been handling this very, very well. I feel like even though, like I said, there were some things before where it felt like she was just like really latching into him. Once it didn't take her, damn sure didn't take, it took me like 8 years, right, to get to that point with my oldest daughter's father of just like, yeah, he's not serious. The baby's only a year old. So she immediately got on to like trying to get some kind of structure. I think once she was eight, and plus with her having postpartum, and we'll get into all that. I'm going to read the article and everything. It should have all the pictures and stuff. But in light of what she was actually going through, and this is based on the stuff he was putting out, in light of what she was actually going through, she's doing really good. Like, I'm super proud of her. She's doing an amazing job. I want to give her flowers, her props, everything. Right. So this is not at all about trying to say, oh, yeah, she's just another baby. You know, people talk about, oh, the baby mama culture, and she found like she has definitively failed. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this platform and this, you know, discussion we're having, is that you have never failed. As long as you are breathing, you always have a chance to redirect the flow of your life and get back onto the path of self-actualization. So she's, just let her know she's doing amazing. She's doing amazing. But yeah, so she is now like, okay, I'm done with this. This is kind of crazy. Don't want to be bothered with this. Let's just go. She was trying to be co-parent with him. It seems like she was trying to co-parent off of an honor system type of situation where, you know, we just pass them off as need be, this and that and the other. according to her. In fact, let me go. This is about DDG. Do I want to just go there? Sorry, I'm trying to. This is the one about DDG. I'm trying to find the one where she filed originally. Well, let's start here. I'm going to open it in a new tab. We'll start there. And then where's the other one? Sorry, y'all. Okay. We'll just start here. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so this is TMZ. She's keeping me from my son. So this is when, baby boy had his first birthday. He's 1 year old. They're co-parenting as far as we know. Everything is copacetic as far as we know. So he says, is this the right one? No, here it is. He says, she's keeping me from my son. DDG is leveling a pretty serious accusation against his ex, Halle Bailey. It all revolves around their child. The rapper born Daryl Dwayne Granberry Jr. slammed Halle recently when he claimed he's not allowed to see his son, Halo. Here you see, he says, been fighting to see my son for months now. Shout out to all the dads who try their best to be there. This shit sucks. Now, mind you, hold on, I got to come back for this. Now, mind you, where I'm at. Now, mind you, I always saw the baby with him. Like, my first getting to see the baby was him all the time. I saw him with the baby on that train ride where the baby is looking like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? I saw him with the baby at this little play center where he had the baby. He kept dropping the baby in the balls and the baby just laying there like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I've seen, every time I saw Halo, I saw him with DDG. So, and then I saw they had the birthday where he was being weird, where the baby was reaching for the mom and he just would not let the baby go to his mom. I saw all of that. So now here we are, maybe like a month or two later or something, and he's talking about, I don't get to see my baby. Okay. Can y'all see? DDG first brought up the alleged situation on Friday when he posted to X, been fighting to see my son for months now. Shout out to all the dads who tried their best to be there. This shit sucks. He eventually scrubbed that post from his account. Do I want to play this? Do I feel like hearing?
Every single day or every other day, I'm trying to see him. I'm trying to get him to come over or whatever. I never get him dropped off. I always go pick him up. I live far as shit. So I'm driving hours to go get him, and then I get there and I can't get him. Or I can't see him. My son is sick right now. I want to see my son. I want to hold my son. I want to, you know what I'm saying? I just want to comfort him. I want to put him in the shower, get some steam in his nose so he can feel better. I don't get the chance to do that. I get pinned against the wall, and then everything else is variables on why I can't see my son. You feel me? Like it don't have nothing to do with me working, by the way. I'm not gonna air out her business, but me and her has not been together for a long time. Like,
so I want you to remember that stuff. Like, I want you to remember the things he's saying, the reasons that he's saying, stuff is going on. It is okay. I won't do that again. I won't do it again. But I want you to pay attention to the stuff that he's saying in the not roach noises. He said, baby in the shower is crazy. No, it's not crazy. Like, if you stand in the shower with the steam and everything, like, I get what he's saying in terms of what he wanted to do. But considering she was also sick at that time, and then the stuff that's going to come later and the stuff that he's alleging now today about back then during those times and stuff, just keep that in mind. It says, not long after DDG hopped on a stream to explain he had been trying to handle the alleged situation quietly, he was too frustrated now and wanted to vent publicly. I really feel like I'm an effing nanny at this point. Nanny has been able to have my son more than me, and I don't even know the nanny's name. Like, it's just not fair, bro. So I have to come on here and got to do this as DDG told you. I don't know why I'm acting like I don't curse. Taking the situation to court is a real possibility, DDG said, adding he's keeping track of the days that go by without seeing his boy. According to DDG, if he and Halle are not on perfect terms, then she uses co-partnering as a weapon. Again, I want you to remember all of what he is saying. I want you to remember all of what he's saying here before we get to, closer to the present. During better times, the couple celebrated Halo's first birthday in December after the couple broke up in October. Is this? I don't feel like hearing no song. It said they reached out to Halle for her word. So far, no word back. So that is that. That was, when was this? About 3 months ago that this was. This was March 8th. They published this. So now we're going to go to recently. I would go to where he had the baby at Kai Cenat, but we don't need to do that. Of course, in the meantime, this was what that article was talking about was after the Kai Cenat situation where she got upset enough to go on social media and say, hey, get my baby off that screen, all that weird stuff going on, whatever. So that was when you first started to see a little trouble in paradise. Because before that, Halle had never said anything. If anything, she was always coming to his defense for anybody that had anything to say about him, whether it was his ex-girlfriend or just the general public. She was always loyal to him. It was always them against everybody else. She was always trying to protect, in terms of people talking about protecting images, she was always trying to protect his image. So this says, DDG files to stop Halle Bailey from leaving the country with son. Judge clears her to travel. Mind you, this is after she had filed like a temporary restraining order. She came out and was like, in fact, no, because I'm jumping way ahead. Let me get back big. Let me get big again. Sorry. Wait, who is that? Kendra Kerr. I don't know who you are. You're not welcome here. I've just blocked you on YouTube. So that's that. Because this is not a democracy. This is a cheerocracy. You got to know that people, yeah, right? Stop being a down edge. But you got to know that people are going to come whenever you talk about him like he has an army of people. And that's why I want to stop this part of it and kind of go back a little bit. So, like I said, she had Halo. They were together as far as all of us knew. They were together. And they were doing okay. But then he took the baby. Like I said, he was doing a lot for a long time that I personally was like, oh, I don't know. But that's her baby daddy. Yay, the baby's cute. Whatever. Then he takes the baby to Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat has a whole bunch of hullabaloo going on at his house. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. And she's like, whoa. Sorry. She's like, whoa, what do you have my baby around? Like, get my baby out of there, yada, yada, yada. So then that starts a back and forth between them. We had never seen that before publicly. We had never, whatever they were going through, she had never said anything publicly about what was happening until then. Like I said, but we all were seeing it in real time because it was a live stream and all that stuff was happening in the live stream. We're all watching this baby in a little knapsack, looking around like, what the fuck did my dad got me in? So I feel her. When she did that, she got a whole bunch of backlash from his supporters. And she also got a bunch of backlash from women who were like, hey, we told you not to be messing with him. We told you not to be having his baby. We knew he was going to do this. Why didn't you? So she got a lot of backlash. Again, keep this stuff in mind in terms of what he is alleging she was doing, her state of mind and everything when we get to the court case stuff. So that is all going on. When that happens, she backs off. She says, you know what? You're right. You're right. I didn't mean it. Zip my lips. Forget I even said anything. I'm going to go back in my corner and just chill out. So she did that. So overruling. Yeah, I don't like to argue with people. That's not what I do. not Alicia sleeping back in. That's not what I do. I'm not arguing. I don't care about the engagement, this and that and the other. You're not going to make me uncomfortable in my own house. Like, go make your own live stream and say your story or your view on it, whatever. So I told you so was a bit too much. No, yeah, it was like people were not nice about it. People were not nice about it whatsoever. So she's going through that, but she backs off. She says, you know what, right? No one wins when the family feuds. Cool, I'm cool. She goes back. Don't really hear too much. Then you start hearing the article I just read. He's like, oh, she's keeping my baby away from me. She's keeping my baby away from me. I don't get to see him. The nannies only get to see him. I don't get to see him, this and that and the other. She says, hey, I'm sick. Baby's sick. You know, we're just trying to heal. He needs to just chill. We'll get back with him, whatever. But again, notice there was no problem until the Kai Cenat, at least publicly facing. There were no problems until the Kai Cenat thing. Now, I will say that, unfortunately, you don't really know. You can be with a guy and you can know he's annoying. You can know he's whatever, a dummy, whatever it is you may think of a guy, but it doesn't really connect to you until you're already in the situation with him to see just how badly they can fuck up being a parent. I'm just like, so I'm sure that was like a moment for her, but she got quiet. She said, let me not do the social media thing. Whatever she was doing, it was happening behind the scenes. That's the point. So he did it on purpose. I think he literally just think Halo is his little toy. Like he was treating that little boy like action figure. For real. From the time that baby was born, he was treating that baby like action figure. So that happens. Let me see. Because I'm trying to make sure I got everything going on and I don't have to jump back. Sorry, y'all, I'm thinking. Yeah. Then he starts claiming that she is keeping him from the baby. And so he's like, oh, I can't see my baby, this and that and the other. What happens is that his people start harassing her online. So now she got the I told you so people. And now she has his people coming at her. On top of, again, whatever's going on behind the scenes that we don't know. But I'm saying I'm just talking about the public facing stuff because we're going to get into the behind the scenes stuff when we get into the court stuff. So then she files a court motion for full custody. She files a motion for a what's that called? A restraining order. And he finds out on live with his little friends, his little dusty friends. And he's like, oh, this is crazy, yo. He amps it up. He puts an AI of her on his stream, and he's talking to her, and he's talking to her crazy. Like, he's got these guys frothing at the mouth in terms of, oh, he's using all the tropes. Oh, she's a bitter baby mother. She is trying to keep me from my son. You know, they're trying to keep a black man down. Everybody's talking now. All these people, Jay-Z gets in it again in terms of people saying it's Jay-Z and Rock Nation and all this. This isn't DDG saying that, but you know, other people are saying that it's becoming a whole mess online because I'm sure he did somewhere. I'm sure he did. But it's becoming a whole mess online, but she's got her thing. She has work to do in Italy. I think it's this weekend she's supposed to be leaving, but this was like a month ago or something. She's got work to do. She's like, look, I want to be able to take my baby with me. He's not helping me. Her court documents are saying, look, he's not helping me financially. He's not helping me in terms of having a set schedule. I remember going through that with the father because there is this thing where they're like, oh, well, I should have the right to come and get my child whenever. So it can be when my baby is sick and you're sick and you don't have the bandwidth to deal with me, but I need to be able to see my son, you know, at times when it's inconvenient. But when it's regular everyday stuff and you're like, hey, when is can we have a set schedule? No, we can't have a set schedule. Oh, well, can you take him while I do this? No, it can never be. The goalpost is always moved. But whenever you're like, you're like, okay, I'm dealing with him. I got my own schedule going. They want to come and disrupt your schedule. I know what that is like. It's a not the confirmation hawk in the background. On top of Disney being racist. It says, I mean, for me, you got to take all the threats of terrorism seriously. These men threaten you to gauge your reaction. I don't know you would want to take the chance personally. No, yeah. Yeah, she is leaving, and I hope she doesn't come back. The thing is, that's why I say I'm proud of her, because what you'll see a lot of times is girlfriends and boyfriends and stuff, they will do that back and forth. And we'll see it in the text messages. Like, they'll do that back and forth, but nobody will go to court. Or maybe the girl will go to court, but she is like a back and forth type. You know what I mean? They're still trying to. So for now, it seems like she's on the up and up, and she's just like, yeah, I'm good. And I personally don't see how, with the way that he is like weaponizing his fan base against her, I don't see how she could ever feel safe with him, again, but you never know. You never know. So whatever. So now we're filing to DDG files to stop Halle from leaving the country with son, but judge clears her to travel. Let me make this big. I want it bigger. Can I make it bigger? A bigger ring, if you will. There we go. This thing. Can I? I'm going to just read it to y'all anyway. Y'all be okay. DDG's temporary restraining order request against Halle Bailey has been denied. Halle's free to leave the country with their child for business or personal reasons. Halle Bailey has filed to deny DDG's request and instead grant her permission to take their son out of the country so she can work. Halle's also requesting orders to stop DDG and his family and friends to stop posting about their son, this litigation, and Halle on all platforms. I know that's right. Halle also points out that DDG waited until today, June 4th, to file a request to block her from traveling and ask for new custody orders when he and his attorneys have ignored all her efforts for him to have monitored visits with their son since the issuance of a TRO on a temporary restraining order on 5/13/25. DDG has filed an emergency motion to stop Halle Bailey from taking their infant son out of the country, claiming she poses an imminent emotional and psychological risk. So again, that's why I was saying, remember the stuff he was saying at the time to the child. The rapper filed the docs Wednesday morning asking for an emergency hearing because he says Halle has made plans to fly with their son Halo to Italy on Saturday. DDG says the court shouldn't allow this because Halle isn't mentally healthy enough to care for herself and their child, and he worries about what she might do if she leaves the court's jurisdiction. DDG provides examples of alleged conduct he thinks is troubling, claiming Halle once took his gun and left the house without telling him where she was going. DDG alleges he ultimately found her outside just holding the weapon. He says she was pregnant when the incident went down. He alleges Halle once tried to have an abortion behind his back, but says she ultimately changed her mind and did not go through with it. Now, about that, when it comes to the abortion, yeah, I'm glad she filed too. When it comes to the abortion, I saw the document. I don't know why I didn't get it off of, let me see, did I? Didn't get it off of Twitter. Yeah, I didn't get it off of Twitter, but I did read that document, and it said that the doctor had called, or he had called the doctor. There was something going on with her. She wasn't doing too well, and somehow he got to talk to the doctor, and that's how he found out that she had was talking about getting an abortion, and he was upset about him. This is his stuff that he put out there, mind you. And so he was upset with her about getting, wanting to get the abortion because he said without talking to him or whatever. So that means that you did not want her to get an abortion. Why does he have a gun? And there's other things, because there was also text messages where he was saying, well, let me not jump ahead, but yeah. Let me go back to reading. As you know, Bailey has accused DDG of abusive behavior in the past, including once where she alleged he slammed her face into a steering wheel and chipped her tooth. Here you can see the chipped tooth. DDG tells a different version of events, claiming he came to pick up Halo for his custodial time with his son, but Halle jumped into his back when he did, demanding they come up with a formal co-parenting schedule. DDG alleges she became increasingly agitated, started jumping from the back seat to hit him, and her momentum carried her forward. She smacked her head on the steering wheel. So this is an injury to his hand. I'm guessing he's saying during that time. It says, in fact, DDG said he was actually on the receiving end of abuse by Halle, including photos of a large cut on his hands in the dots, which he says Bailey caused. DDG's asking the judge to block Halle from taking Halo to Italy. He also wants sole legal and physical custody of their son, or if he's not granted sole custody, then he wants the custodial exchanges facilitated by a third party. They reached out to Halle. So far, no word back. I'm trying to see. Let me see. Don't care about him. Don't care about them. In St. Lucia. Okay, I was trying to see if they had the daggone, what's that called? Text messages. I could find them. Hold on, I could find them on TikTok. So yeah, the judge recently denied DDG's request. He said she can go. She could go work and they'll handle that. Their thing is, well, I want to see them text messages though, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the thing in case anybody wants to come up, because I want to find those text messages on Twitter so we can read through the text messages, because it's within the text messages that you get that background that I'm talking about, that we can kind of talk about the stuff that's in my book, and we can kind of get into the dynamics that are at play here, and we get more information in terms of what was actually going on behind the scenes when he was saying this and that she was doing that and stuff, when there was none of this other thing. Because the funny part is, so she, in fact, let me just kind of break it down for you where I'm seeing this at. Initially, in her first filing, she was saying, hey, I cannot get him to agree to a regular schedule for when we're going to have Halo, so that I can plan around that. You know, I work, he works, this is stuff is going on, so let's have a schedule. Again, I remember those days. I remember those, like, why, if we know the baby needs to go to daycare or school or whatever this many days a week, why is it that I can't get you to agree to this many days a week or every other week or whatever of the day-to-day minutia of actually having to raise and care for this child? And so she's saying she's asking for that. She can't get that from him. She details how she was asking even his mother. She was like working with his mother to just do pass-offs and handouts. At one point, there was something going on and she was out of town for work. And she was saying that somebody would have to come and get the baby. So DDG gave his mother a ticket to go there, get the baby, and come home. But he was saying that she was going to need to get the ticket to get the grandma back there with the baby and then send her home. It's just all like every little thing that's going on, he's just tit for tatting her. And that has to be annoying. I started reading. He tried to weaponize her PPD against her when she already spoke about it a month after giving birth. Exactly. His whole family is trapped. Look. And I'm gonna put this here again in case anybody wants to come up while I go waltzing Matilda, looking for these text messages. Listen to my song. That's a horrible song. Let me see. Is this a text message right here? Child, I know they all up and down the thing. Okay, so here is one. I'll send this one because this is one of the this is one of his filing where he's like, hey, oh, I got that in there. Okay. Sorry. Not you telling people to join the panel. You join the you join the panel. Let me pull this up. And I'm going to share it. So this is on his one of his court filings. It says Halle Bailey threatens to go through with abortion unless her relationship is restored, using the pregnancy as leverage to control DDG. In June of 2023, I discovered petitioner attempted to terminate the pregnancy. Petitioner would be Halle, without my knowledge or consent. So that means he's saying he wanted the baby, yes, regardless of our prior discussions to parent the child together. On or about June 6, 2023, petitioner contacted me complaining she was bleeding and in pain. In my effort to assist, I contacted her OBGYN and learned the petitioner had attempted to abort the baby but failed to take the second abortion dose. Somebody was like, so a HIPAA violation in the comments. Following this discovery, I spoke to petitioner and asked why she would abort our child after we'd agreed to co-parent together. Petitioner threatened me by demanding that we reconcile or she would go through with the abortion. This was the most troubling of her attempts to coercively control me. Mind you, this is in light of all of the stuff she had been going through with him. Hey, 2Ls. This is in light of all the stuff she had been going through with him. I got you here, but we're in the back. In terms of people saying, hey, we don't think he's the best guy for you. He was terrorizing her during her press run for The Little Mermaid, making it all about him, complaining about her cheating or thinking she was cheating, this and that and the other. Then she gets pregnant. She's dealing with the stress of defending him, defending the trying to hide the pregnancy, this and that and the other from everybody else. He's saying that she was threatening to abort because it sounds like you broke up with her. You broke up with her, apparently, when she was pregnant. So why wouldn't she rethink having your baby? Because this was all, remember guys, this was all really like fast in terms of her doing The Little Mermaid and him acting a fool and everything, and then her being pregnant. That happened so fast. So this had to be like overlapping things. So I don't see how she got pregnant after y'all broke up. So more than likely you decided you were going to break up with her sometime after she got pregnant. It's seeming like, I could be wrong, but it's seeming like. So she's dealing with all of this stuff. It says, following the threat to abort the pregnancy, coupled with the fact that she attempted to abort without informing me, I made the decision to cut ties with her. I could no longer be subjected to her controlling behavior, and I wondered whether her actions may have jeopardized the health and well-being of our unborn child. Despite making it clear I wanted out of the relationship, petitioner insisted the baby was unharmed and informed me she began attending multiple medical appointments in an effort to reassure me. These appointments appeared less about transparency and more about convincing me to stay. Ultimately, we learned that our baby was miraculously healthy. Moved by that outcome and motivated by a desire to preserve a sense of family for my unborn son, I chose to reconcile with petitioner once again. Okay, so you did get back with her once again in hopes of creating a stable environment for our child. It's people talking on the side, but I'm not going to even worry about that. I'm not going to scroll on here. I mean, I haven't had any nasty things on my Twitter, but still, you never know. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. Hey, 2Ls, what is you with these pictures?
Because these niggas stink. I can't stand it.
They're awful. They're awful.
Repulsed.
How are you?
I'm good, apparently. I mean, it's been a long week, and it's only Thursday, girl. Logic is not with people. I'm learning that.
No, it is like, honestly, but I've been having success rehabbing these niggas on Twitter because I was embroiled in conversations with them, and I'm 2 for 2 in terms of like when I'm talking about what I'm talking about. By the end of it, they're just like, oh yeah, I can see that. Because my main thing is like you're saying, I'm trying to find something where he's talking about the rest of the like text messages and stuff. Oh, did I save them? Maybe I saved them. Let me see. Hold on, you can talk. I'm looking for my bookmarks. Sorry.
I just think I mean, we know this. Like, as soon as men, or the incels, I say, as soon as they think they have a win, my God, do they just team up. And I started to like mute this whole thing because I was like, I already know what they think, so I don't even really want to read it and get that into my spirit. But I'm loving the girls who are just wearing them out, wearing the people
Listen,
out.
because enough
Just
is enough. Enough is really enough. Like it doesn't make any sense for this to be going on, and it's like it is frustrating. Gotta say, because this is exactly what we didn't want for the girl. You know what I mean? We didn't want that for the girl, but baby boy is here. He's amazing. Like he's so cute. He's so
Yeah.
smart and funny, and like I I know what it's like to be in the family and you done had this baby and everybody cussing you out because why the hell would you get pregnant? But then of course the baby is the light of everyone's life. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it goes. I think we all have that story, whether we're the person that had the baby or we're one of the family members, right? So it's just like Taylor's oldest time as far as that's concerned. But like the way he is behaving and carrying on is annoying. It's annoying at best.
It is. Is my audio still bad, y'all?
No, who said
I'm
your audio
sorry.
was bad?
The chat.
Oh, I don't. It doesn't sound bad to me. I mean, I don't think it sounds any worse than mine.
I think I do hate that for her. I hate that she had to experience it. Like it's not fun. Um I do think she thought it was going to work out, or at least that she could stick around long enough to make it work out. And unfortunately, I think if he wasn't violent, or he didn't, put his hands on her and do things to her, she probably would have stayed even through the toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
And and I get it. Like I too have been there. It's like, oh, I want to make things work. My parents are together still, and so you want that for your child, but who child, enough is enough. And then if you have the right people in your corner to say that a happy and healthy environment far outweighs than having both biological parents there. Like it's not worth it. If it ain't ish, then you got to let it go. And more importantly, your child will want you to be happy.
Oh,
So
this one is a good one. Let me send this to myself. Sorry. This one is comparing um DDG's allegations with Halle's allegations. So we just read. Hello? That's not the same thing.
yes, he does. DVD does get on Halo's nerves.
He do listen.
That poor
He
baby.
do because how your baby looking at you. That's what I'm saying. Like I thought Halo had one kind of personality, and it wasn't until I started seeing him with Halle. I'm like, oh no, he is a real little baby. Like he do act like a regular little baby. So I was confused. All right, so this says reading through Halle's account side by side with DDG's, one's very clearly lacking context and has plot holes. I don't really understand why people are even coming to the conclusion she stabbed him. It says this appears to be Halle's. On January 18th, 2025, Daryl called and said he was coming over to get Halo, who was just 13 months at the time. I let him into my house and asked him politely when he would bring Halo back. I repeatedly asked Daryl to please set a schedule. He did not want to talk and refused to tell me when he would bring Halo back. The discussion continued as I walked with him outside to assist to put Halo into the car seat. I was buckling the baby into his seat and physically got in the back seat to adjust the car seat. I left the front door open and was not even fully dressed, as I was not even wearing shoes. Daryl kept repeating, "Get out of my car, bitch." Halo was crying. I repeatedly pleaded with him to stop calling me a bitch. I felt very nervous. He was taking Halo with him and was very agitated. I did not feel safe leaving a baby with him in this state. I also wanted to know when he would bring Halo back. He would not tell me. This argument then escalated. The next thing I knew, things got physical between us. We fought each other, wrestling and tussling. At one point, Daryl was pulling my hair. He then slammed my face on the steering wheel, causing my tooth to get chipped. I then stopped fighting back as I was in a lot of pain. I wanted to get out the car with Halo, but was now stuck. Daryl then said since I would not leave the baby in the car, he would take me with them. He drove quickly towards his house. When we arrived at his house, I was crying and told his family what happened. I begged his family, who were there, to help me figure out a schedule with him. They said, just leave Halo and go. I left hysterical. I had bruises over my arms and a chipped tooth. True and correct copies of the pictures of the bruises and my tooth are attached here too. So that was Halle's recollection of events. This is his. It says, on or about January 18th, 2025, petitioner agreed I could pick up our son, Halo, for an overnight visit. However, when I arrived at her residence, she insisted we discuss and formalize a visitation schedule. So this is something I've seen the other text messages too, and the other stuff he submitted too, and I'm gonna try and find those things. But this is something that was really standing out to me, and why when I was talking to those guys, I kept saying like what both of them submitted is corroborating everything Halle has been saying all along. All along, she was saying I had postpartum, so I wasn't doing well mentally and emotionally. All along, she was saying I'm trying to establish a set schedule with him, and he will not establish a set schedule with me. So everything that she's saying is being backed up, but he's thinking because of the stuff that makes her look quote unquote crazy, that somehow he's winning something. And I don't understand. But anyway, he says, however, when I arrived at her residence, she insisted we discuss and formalize a visitation schedule, an issue that had become increasingly contentious due to her repeated pattern of using Halo as a means of control, arbitrarily limiting my access based on her emotions or preferences. That is something, this is me talking, that is something that men say a lot, but I feel like it has more to do with them just assuming a lot of things. Same thing when they're like, oh, the courts are biased towards women type of thing. They automatically have a defeatist attitude about things and feel like they're so worried about this aspect of being quote unquote controlled by the baby mother that everything to them is a form of control. Even when you're saying, hey, let's establish a clear cut schedule for the both of us so that both of us know when we're doing what. It's all considered control to them because they feel like they should just come and go as they please because it's their child. It says, after placing Halo in his car seat, petitioner unexpectedly entered the backseat of the vehicle and refused to exit, effectively preventing me from exercising my custodial time. So she's explaining fully what she was thinking, what was going on, every single detail. And he's just like, oh, yeah, she just got in my car and just wouldn't get out. I don't know why. Despite my repeated requests for her to leave the car, she locked herself inside with Halo and grew increasingly agitated. For what reason? You're not giving any kind of clear-cut reason. She's just the crazy lady's just being crazy, guys. Concerned for the safety and well-being of our son, I called my mother for guidance on how to proceed. During this incident, petitioner demanded I talk to her and make a schedule. Okay, so you're corroborating what she's saying, that she wants a schedule for y'all and your child. You're still not saying, hey, we can make a schedule another time, whatever. So everything you're backing up everything she's saying, and then proceeded to strike me from the back seat by launching herself over. I don't want to go to the next post directly from me. I get it. Hold on. I don't want to go to the next post. God. Oh my God. To punch me. As she did so, her own momentum caused her to, I'm guessing he said, hit the wheel. At no point did I strike her. In fact, I attempted to shield myself by restraining her arms to prevent further punches. Eventually, I drove home with petitioner still in the backseat of the car in an effort to get her to calm down and exercise my visitation. I arrived home and went inside with Halo as petitioner stayed outside to talk to my family and complain about the status of our relationship. After my mother arrived, petitioner spent time with my little sister, who eventually drove her home. At no point did she leave the premises in a state of distress or hysteria. Attached here to is Exhibit 3. I'm guessing that's with his finger that's cut. So yeah, I don't know what he expects us to do. It's a Twitter court versus actual fucking exactly. He's ruining her career. Maybe not, because the thing is, a lot of times, and this is, they're always so scared to talk about, oh, women spin this and that and the other. But you're making yourself look like a batterer. You're making yourself look really bad. Like this isn't giving what you think it's giving.
It's not, and it's not going to ruin her career because she will look like what moms do. They fight. Eventually, you fight back. Eventually, you do. She's trying to, or she's not trying. She is doing what's best for Halo,
She
and
is,
she'll be
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you're right when you're saying she's trying, because her repeatedly saying, y'all both are saying the same things in terms of her saying, hey, let's get a schedule going. Because from what you're both of y'all saying, it seems like you're popping up even when you were mad about, oh, she won't let me at the house, her and the baby are sick. So that sounds like another time of you deciding when you can be in her house, mind you. You're just deciding, and you feel like you should be able to do that because I'm the father. That doesn't mean anything in terms of y'all are both autonomous adults. If she has custody of the baby, even if it's just her having the baby in her possession most of the time or whatever, because it seems like that's what is going on, she's saying to you, hey, when do you want? How often do you want? Let's have it be standardized so that we're not doing this back and forth hot potato guessing game thing. And you're just like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But also, give me my baby. You're keeping my baby from me.
Yeah, it's funny because I kind of went through the same thing.
Wait, who hasn't?
Clearly he's corroborating that she's trying to work with you, sir. She's asking for a schedule, like you said, so there isn't this ping pong thing. So you don't think that you can just pop up at her house because you feel like, well, that's my baby mama and that's my child. So you're, both of you will be available at my discretion.
Right,
Absolutely.
at my discretion. It's always just whatever I feel like it. I should be able to come up, and when I don't feel like it, I shouldn't have to be bothered. And I don't understand why you're trying to force. I don't understand. I don't know if y'all ever watched Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. He was like custody is being forced upon me, and I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to if I don't want to. Hold on, let me see. So this is one of the text messages. It says, please take Halo. This is Halle. It says Halle. Please take Halo. All caps, 5 exclamation points. I'm genuinely scared of you, man. This is what he's saying. I feel like you're going to kill me in my sleep one day. I'm not allowing you in my house around guns, meaning he has guns in his house. Please just go home and I'll pick up Halo from there. So that means she's outside with his son. Me and Halo are in the cold and you won't let us in your house. Are you serious? So she's saying, please take Halo, right? Is this not the man? Even in this, he's trying to insinuate she's a crazy lady. And right now, hey, exclusively elusive. Right now, he's trying. I'm saying right now today, he's saying she's so scary that I don't think my baby should be around her. She's so crazy that I don't think my baby is safe with her. So why is it that when she was standing outside of your house, you did not at least open the door and take your child?
Right. And I have an idea of what happened.
We're listening.
It probably was his day or time to get Halo, or he asked, can I see Halo? She gets over there. She brings him. He probably changed his mind. And now you want to act like you can play with my time. Like, okay, I'm trying to be amenable. I'm trying to answer to your beck and call. And now you want to play games when I get over there. And yes, I am going to tell you, open the door and take him because I came all the way over here. I just feel like there's something missing in these messages. And sir, she's outside your door.
Well, mind you, but this is the thing. This is why, and this is how I was able to like those guys, because when you, I mean, and not that you should be talking to men about this, but I'm just saying, like, in these conversations, I try as best as I can not to project anything that's not there. It don't even need it in this case. It's all here on the thing. So she's outside with your baby. You believe that she's crazy, both then and now. Why didn't you open the door and get your child? You even said on your thing that you have guns in your house. So if she's really that crazy, you have the means to protect yourself and secure your baby. So why is it today, months and months and months later, because this was 3/21/24, it's 6/5/25. Not even months. So that's more than a year. More than a year later, you're trying to tell us today that the baby needs to be taken from her because she was crazy back then. But you were the judge back then. So why didn't you get your baby?
Yeah. Or ask your mom, hey, mom, or sister, whomever, can you get Halo from her? Can you come over here? She out front. She acting erratic. She got Halo. Can you get her?
Like it's really cut and dry. And that's what I was saying to the guys. I was like, how you can't have it both ways. Mind you, there's a part of my book. Where is it? There's a part of my book. I'm saying the same thing to the girlies. I'm saying the same thing to the girlies. You can't sit here and be like, oh, he's so crazy. He's so crazy. But you also would be with him and marry him probably if he asked you. Because that's what it. Am I lying? It says, if you feel you can't trust the father of your child with their safety in your absence, something is amiss and you need to reevaluate your intentions. Either he's a good enough father and you want to be with him if possible, or he's crazy and or dangerous. And if that's the case, the last place he should be is in your house or your bed, sis. Pick a struggle.
What you always say is
either Uchi Wally or is it one mic? Is it Uchi Wally or is it you can't have both? And it's the same with him. You can't have both. Either she's crazy or she's not. But mind you, if you're saying she's crazy today and she's been crazy all this time, why was it that when she was telling you, hey, take your baby, you did not take your baby from the crazy lady? And if you want to, you can hit the cash app. The cash app there. I feel like I just put that there. It said, but he begged her to keep the baby. That's what it sounded like. At the very least, he was mad at her for even entertaining not keeping the baby. It says, I cannot take a man serious that left her child with a woman he thinks will harm his son. Exactly,
Themis. Hey.
It says, I don't like how people are weaponizing her mental health. Exactly. Because my thing is, there's other ones too. I'm still looking for it. Hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing this.
Because people really don't believe that postpartum depression is real.
It's like, that's for anybody else that wants to come up, by the way. Yeah, postpartum is real. And mind you, I remember at the time when I was doing the whole rundown or whatever, when she first had the baby and she was still in defense of him, mind you, in defense of him. She was saying, I have postpartum. So please excuse my outbursts. I overreacted. You know, when she was talking about him having the baby at Kai Cenat or whatever. She said, I overreacted, right? I have postpartum. And he joined in and said, yeah, guys, she has postpartum because she was defending him.
But now, fast forward to
now
her postpartum makes her dangerous.
Makes her crazy and dangerous. Hold on. This is another one of the text messages he submitted. I'm about to put it up here. So mind you, I'm not even going to read this. This is a woman saying she causes manipulation, blah, 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 blah. But we're here.
I'm a fire sign. I get very passionate.
What is that? What's
I seem nice online and innocent and everything, but you guys do not know. I will
this is
go
her
to battle
reading. Hold on, I don't want to
with
hear
my
her
yelling,
reading.
with my words, everything.
I want to hear it. I want to see. I just want to read it myself. Don't nobody want to hear you, bitch. It says, Halle, this is proof. You leave me hanging as a mother. You won't step up when I need you to. I'm begging you. I just found out you slept with Lala in Mexico. I'm going to kill myself tonight. My son will not be around for it. I hate you forever. You can have him and let her be his mom. Now, mind you, they're using this as a means to say that, oh, she was just trying to control him because she just wanted to be with him. And so nothing that she's saying about him, mind you, that he's corroborating in the stuff that he's submitting and the stories he's telling in terms of her also. So I'm saying two things can't be true, is what they're saying. That two things can't be true. That yes, maybe she was going back and forth with him, but even she showed him in her house when she was not there, taking pictures of her. So it wasn't just one of them, is what I'm saying. That's why I say I feel like the both of them was with the shits. And I'll say it to the day after. The both of them was with the shits in terms of, going back and forth with each other and like antagonizing each other to certain degrees and this and that and the other. And that happens when young people have babies in these type of situations where they didn't have, it seems like, a solid relationship, immature people, so forth and so on, right? But that has nothing to do with the fact that he is showing that she had valid concerns and desires in terms of trying to get them on track with co-parenting, such as establishing a clear-cut schedule for them to have the baby, which would have helped mitigate some of this as well, that he did not want to do because man logic, it's my child. I should be able to pop up in it anytime that I want. And it's clear that his motivations were not kosher either, because again, why are you in her bedroom? What do you care what she does in her bed?
Yeah, I almost called him something. At this point, we're no longer together. Whatever I do is none of your business, especially when it comes to me. Now, if it involves Halo, then you can have an inquiry. I was about to say some say so. Not no say so. An inquiry. Other than that, mind your mother effing business. Okay?
Right.
And I I just, girl, it's taking me back down memory lane. But it's so unfortunate.
No, because there is a lot of back and forth, and that's why let me stop sharing this so I can read some more from my book, because these are the things I'm talking about. Like when this stuff came out, it's like, okay, I can see where the things that actually have to do with my book. Because before this, like I said, outwardly, she was just handling, and I'm not saying she's not handling it well. I told you, I feel like she's handling it amazingly. But now we're getting a little more context in terms of how she was actually feeling, what she was actually doing, what it seemed she wanted. She wanted to be with him. She wanted to be with the father of her child.
Yeah.
Okay, I went through that.
Same.
And I can say now today that it wasn't because I was so in love with him. It was literally because he was the father of my child.
Yeah.
For real. It was like, oh, I had a baby with this guy. Oh, I'm going to be a single mother. I might as well make a good go of it. And it will get you in this space where you're just like, especially if the person is an antagonist such as him, moving the goalposts, not really wanting to move with integrity, and like I said, set up a structure and a schedule for himself, for the both of you, so that y'all, to keep y'all both honest. No, because he wants to be loosey-goosey. He wants to slip in and out as he chooses.
Yeah, he wants to create the parenting schedule for himself with no consideration of her. And listen, she was already being dragged, right, for being pregnant out of wedlock, right? So, and I get that understanding of, well, like you said, let's just make a go of it, because I'm already being dragged anyway by my community, by society. Exactly. So let me just make a go of it, and at least if it works out in the end, you can say, yeah, this is how this started, but here we are now. You know what I mean? And it doesn't work out like that. It doesn't. Especially not with a guy like him. Like, no.
And this is again from my book. Hold on, I gotta put that back up there. And I'm also gonna put up some pin tweets. Thank you guys, by the way, about talking about the book. It says the bond will have you so confused as to how your baby father would prioritize anyone and anything over your desires when you're the obvious love of his life. The bond keeps you in a perpetual state of righteous indignation at the perceived dismissal of your feelings by him and everyone else in the entire world, despite the fact that he is not your man, might even have a new woman, and never really prioritize your wishes if or when you were together in the first place. The bond will have you thinking you have any say at all on how he lives his life and conducts his relationships, despite his every demonstration to the contrary. The bond will have you making enemies out of other women, Ruby Rose, and wasting your energy trying to keep them from enjoying what you covet. But the most diabolical function of the bond, however, is providing yourself an excuse for continued sexual contact with your baby father. I think there's one. Oh, there's two more. Let me see what these are. It can feel like you and your baby's father are dead. All is said and done. All of the passion and drama make it seem like you two are just star-crossed lovers paying karmic dues in order to earn the blissful nirvana of each other's consistent love. That's not true. The child you share is not a personification of your shared fate and deep love. They are a bookmark to him. And what does it seem like he was using that baby as? A bookmark. What did Offset say about Cardi B when you're my baby mom? I won. I went through what I had my baby father tell me, oh, I don't want to be with you, but anytime you get in a relationship, I'm going to try and break it up. I expect to be able to come and have sex with you whenever. Like, he would say these things to me.
Yeah.
This is how they feel. He keeps reiterating, DDG keeps reiterating right now that, oh, we weren't together. We weren't together. I didn't want to be with her. She's mad because I didn't want to be with her. Then why were you just last month in her house taking a picture of her bed, talking about what she's going to be? What business of that is yours?
Exactly. Like you're so over her, sir. If nothing pertains to Halo, then any other part of her life.
Texting at 11 p.m. at night, talking about I'm here to see my. Yeah, those are the types of games they'll play, and that's why they don't want structure in the relationship. That's why they don't want to have a schedule, because then might have to adhere to it.
Oh yeah, and see, and when she tried to do it without the courts involved, and then when you don't get any resolve with that, you go file. Period. No more discussion after that. I'm gonna use another method to make you accountable.
I'm gonna use it because what else can I do? And it seems like eventually she's like, you know what? I've had enough. He clearly, especially what I think once he took it to his live streaming, what do you do with that? You're gonna sit up there with the AI of me, you talking crazy in front of your little friends, getting them all frothed up. They up there calling me ugly. Mind you, your son got my face. Your son has my face, and you got your little minions calling my face ugly.
Yeah, that
you're not a protector.
No, and your son will look back and see this.
It says, do you really feel they were both with the shits? Don't you think she was being primed for reactive abuse? Well, I'm talking about, I formed this opinion before she was even pregnant, because of how she was dealing with people saying, hey, I mean, yes, it could be. I'm not saying that's not true, because again, I don't know if you were here when I did my disclaimer. This is not set up for me to try to make her like, oh yeah, well, she deserves every bit of consideration, of protection, of help, of any and all of that. But what I'm saying, and like what my book is about, it's not about blaming yourself, it's not about guilting yourself, but it is about empowering yourself to be able to think about the situation differently, to not get caught up or to break that spell of feeling like, oh, we have this unique bond that I have to maintain. I be loyal to him and this and that and the other, so that you can start making the decisions, which it seems like she has started to do, to distance yourself from that person, to create structure, to create boundaries, and be able to move on and live your life. So yes, I want you to be clear. This is not about standing on high and looking down low at her, but this is about talking to people who aren't her, because the ship has sailed for her right now, right? Just like the ship has sailed for me. But for those who are walking into this situation, to be able to say, you know what? Maybe I'm going to listen a little bit better, even if I don't move because people tell me to. But when somebody's saying, hey, watch out for that guy, I'm going to take heed of it, because I know. So I have two daughters. They're 10 years apart. And my youngest daughter's father, he was not the man. We didn't get married. Stuff happened. He cheated and everything like that. But during the time that I was dealing with him, people were coming to me and saying, hey, I don't think he's that guy. You know what I mean? And I never was like, oh, I was like, I love him with my first baby father. But mind you, I was 18. So with my second baby father, it was like, oh, I love him, but I knew him more. He was more of my friend before we got together. But I listened to everything they were saying. In my mind, I hit the notes like, yeah, I see that. I see that. I see that. But I told them right now, I have faith in him. I love him. I believe in him. But I'm taking what you're saying into consideration. And so when it got to a point, it didn't take me as long. It took me like 8 years to fully get to a point with my oldest baby father that I was like, I'm done. It took me, the baby wasn't even born. I was still pregnant. I was like 8 months pregnant when I stopped dealing with my youngest daughter, like, was done. So I'm saying it's about that process of being able to, even if you want something, you move into it. You're not going off of compulsion. Because for her, like, it seemed like she was going through a lot. She was feeling alone. She was wanting him so bad. She kept getting deeper and deeper with him. And so it may have gotten to a point where she didn't want to be wrong because she had fought everybody about, you get what I'm saying? So this is about really talking about the situation, because this is what happens all the time. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see what you said. This is for sure. I do agree. You have to own it to create a better. Yeah, like you have to be mindful. Like, it's hard to talk about these things in this way though, because there are so many people perched and ready to just, yeah, she's a dumb bitch and she's a baby mama and she's, there's so many people ready to just weaponize accountability. That's not what accountability is. Accountability is a tool, not a weapon. It's a tool for you to have in your tool belt to use in these situations when stuff gets hard, to be able to say, okay, you know what? I've been moving a little crazy. Let me back up and rethink this and then go forward intentionally. Says, I think her family's behind her, giving advice and supporting her. I just think the Bailey family moves in silence. That's true.
And to be honest, she's an adult. She provides for herself. So your parents, your family, anybody could give you the advice. You just have to be ready to make the next move. And I think, and just being behind her, I think that's the best thing you can do, because I'm sure they wanted to put hands, feet, all kinds of things on him.
Right.
Listen, from experience, they was like, listen, if it wasn't for,
if it wasn't for Halo, if it wasn't for Halle, it's just like, whatever. It's a hard situation, but it makes it so sad and bad. First of all, let's just go back. Betrayal. The level of betrayal. Like I said, in the story that I told up to, reading the text messages and articles and stuff, there were so many times where she has demonstrated loyalty to that man in the face of people having reason to be like, girl, what are you doing with him? Girl, leave him alone. Get rid of him. You know what I mean? In the face of that, each and every time she was like, no, this is my man. Mind your business. I'm grown. We're in love. It is what it is. And that is her right to do so. But to turn around and then get to this point, and this man is literally using your likeness on an AI for the benefit of these crusty, stinking bums in their mother's basements. The level of betrayal, that's on top of the postpartum that, again, they both, I remember her saying, even when everything was good, I have postpartum. I remember him backing her up saying, yeah, she has postpartum. So now you're going to come back and use these documents to try and say, yeah, she had postpartum. She's crazy. Give me my baby right now today. Even though those same text messages are, she's yelling at you, take this baby. I'm feeling crazy right now. And you did not take your baby in that moment.
Yeah.
Because she's fine now. She working.
Yep.
Everything she seems to be stabilized now. But now today, you want us to go back to then where you were the judge and the jury and could have been the executioner or whatever. And you didn't do what would have been reasonable and right for you and easy because she was giving you the baby. You're fake. She won't give me my baby. You're showing us text messages where it says take your baby and you're like, no.
Yeah, because he didn't listen. He don't want to have to deal. He don't want to be a full-time daddy. He just doesn't.
They don't. That's the thing. And that's why, that's how you know when a man will not work with you to create a set schedule. And this is why I'm going to read you this part of the book. This is why I'm like, she's on the ball. It says, require that he take his children out when coming to visit them. This isn't about him spending money. He should have a safe place to take his children when he wants to spend time with them instead of sitting up under you at your house. He wanted to come and sit up under them when she was sick. Mind you, she's sick. But he was incensed that he couldn't come and sit up under her at her house. And then when he was able to get to her house, he's worrying about who was in there and what was going on. He can take them to his own house, the park, the mama's house, wherever he wants. He just can't be all up in your space. If you object to this on the grounds of your child's safety, I suggest you hop back into the section about the veil. This is where I was talking about if you feel like you can't trust the father of your child while you want to be with them, that doesn't make sense. He should be willing to make the arrangements. If he's mad, he'll threaten to take you to court for visitation, which shouldn't be a problem because you'll be getting what you want in the long run anyway. And if he's just full of shit, he will bitch and complain but do nothing. So she's on the ball. That's like, she is on the ball.
Yep.
No notes.
Here we go.
No notes.
Yeah. Yeah. And he, he wanted to have the parenting time there so that he could just drive, he don't got to drive Halo back off. He can just roll out. You feel me? Like, oh, I spent my 2 hours up right about that time. Now it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm disrupting both of y'all's, nervous system.
But she's literally in her testimony and in your testimony that you submitted this. You dictated this. You had somebody write it down and you submitted it to the court. And it's saying the same thing she was saying.
And what's the other little dusty, crusty little boy he be with? Aiden Ross talking about I put him in a group chat with my lawyers. Well, sir, guess what? Your attorneys didn't do nothing for him. So where's the W? Because I don't see it. Denied.
Denied. Hey, Talissa. Hello? We just hear beeping.
You can hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying that you're absolutely right. It's like everything that you're saying, I agree on. And I feel like it's more so of a control thing for him and what he's doing. Because like they had that situation where he was at where he came to her house when Halo was sick. And he tried to stay there, and she was like, no, you can take him. She agreed on letting him take him. And they had that big argument. He even went on live stream and explained the entire situation and how he was mad that he got put out. And he also said, that was so crazy to me. He also said that, oh, she could have stayed upstairs. She did not have to come down. And he said this all while on live stream, which was
Why I
sick.
gotta stay upstairs in my? That's what I'm saying. Like, you have a
Yes.
house, and I'm asking you, when do you want your child?
And then also a couple of weeks, like I think a week after that, he started claiming that she didn't want him to be around Halo at all, which is absolutely sick to me. And I don't understand the hate that she's getting when he has displayed this behavior. He has talked about this, her being going through postpartum and everything that they were going through. And he has absolutely said this, and like she's getting so much hate for everything, and I don't understand it. It's so sad to me. Especially as someone, if I've been through that type of behavior. So it's so sad to me to see her going through that.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
mean,
I'm saying.
this is how everybody felt in terms of like when it's, and again, she does not have to listen to us. We're nobody, right? We are nobody. But this, it hurts because it's like, this is what I didn't want for you, baby. You know, like because we know what it's like to go through. I know what it's like to go through this with somebody who is never going to be satisfied, because at the end of the day, even when you're saying it's about control, it's not just about control. It's about this ever present looming thing that, let's face
Right.
it, black men have with this idea that everybody can control me and I gotta fight against people everybody's trying to control me.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a win-win.
That's a great point.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
That's a great way to even position that, because particularly when it comes to this demographic of men, they enter into everything with this mindset that everyone is out to get them, that they're victims in everything. And the optics of Aiden Ross being in his circle is such a terrible look, because Aiden Ross is one of the most vile people on the platform sphere of like men. Like he is
Yes.
deeply down the alpha male, red pill hole. He's like one of the end bosses. And so it's like, I don't know what that meant. Like, I don't know if this is a recent relationship or whatever, but if I wish that there was like a proxy type of thing that she could present the people he's around as a part of the evidence, because this person has so, like, he has his own, like, Aiden has a rap sheet of his own in terms, like, if Halle does this the right way, I think she could truly make it very difficult for him to continue. You know what I mean? Like,
She already has. She already
He
has
already has.
emotion
Yeah,
that
I
he
agree. Also,
can't.
I think she's doing.
She
I think
already
she's doing.
has.
Yeah,
In her
she's doing
motion,
everything the
he
exactly
can't.
same right.
He
Right way.
can't report the baby. He can't talk about her online. Like she already put all that in the thing. Now they're going to have the real hearing on to figure out what's going to be what from here on out on the 24th.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: he's already digging his own hole, because it's not much that
I
she has to
agree.
say anymore. She's provided the evidence. The judge reviewed it. She was granted a temporary restraining order, and every day that PCP, whatever you want to call him, goes on live and talks trash about her, every time his family says something negative, every post, you better believe her attorneys, her people are recording it, and they're gonna present it. He's allowing he's just stupid, but he's allowing his ego. He's allowing his little groupies, his fans, his
Mhm.
fellow content creators. They're not making his case, because we don't
They're
care
making it
about
worse, actually.
yeah,
They're
we don't
all
care
just
about
sitting up here
Twitter.
bashing her, and she has so much evidence about so many different people, so many streamers, so many influencers talking about her, and posting. Oh my God, like Twitter, well X is like bashing her on every post, like every other minute, every quote, every
Yeah,
mention of Halle Bailey. It's like ridiculous. And I guess he thought he was having people defend him, but it's actually making his case 10 times worse. I guess
yeah.
he doesn't even see it that way, but it's actually
He
making his case
does it.
10 times worse.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, there was two guys, because the thing is, and I be telling anytime I'm somewhere, I'm like, listen to these men. Pay attention to how they mind work. Pay attention to the stuff they pay attention to. Because they were saying to me, like, oh, y'all women ain't worried about what she did wrong. I said it doesn't have nothing to do with anything. We can't do anything about that today. You want to say she was crazy back then? Okay, she was crazy back then. And he still got her pregnant and he still left his baby with her. And they was like, you know what, you right. Yeah, I'm fucking right.
But also, when he was showing those text messages from like 2022, 2023, he actually had videos with her, like granting her awards, saying she's the best mom ever and everything. Immediately after that, like he has uploaded videos on YouTube, like right after the dates that those text messages were sent. So if she was causing you this much harm, you were so afraid of her. Why were you making YouTube videos with her? Like, why wouldn't you try to distance yourself from her, or at least try to get your child away from her?
That's something, yeah, because if you're going to go with the narrative of, oh, she just wants me and I don't want her anymore, then why were you in her house worried about who she had in her bed? That be the stuff too, because they will weaponize that idea of you being a bitter baby mom that doesn't want them to move on, but you'll be doing things that'll make me think, why would you care about who I'm sleeping with? If you don't want to be with me, why would you care about who I'm sleeping with? And if you believe that I want to be with you, don't you think that that would make me think that you want to be with me?
And
But you
and
guys,
also, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, go ahead. You can go first.
No, I was just going to say that I don't know how to pronounce his name, but that Brent Fry, I don't know how to say his name,
Oh,
but it
Brent
was some guy.
Fires? Brent
Yeah,
Fires.
it was a guy that they were saying that she was with. Did you see how like the media went absolutely crazy? Like if you thought like you wasn't into her, or y'all were overweight at that point, why was it like he was crashing out online? Like everyone was, even his entourage, like people he was around.
Yeah, oh, you got
Like
my
when they
baby
think
around.
that.
What does it matter?
Right, but if his entourage knew that they weren't together, like they claim, like, oh, we been knew she was crazy and we been knew that they weren't together. Well, why was they like making a big deal about her being with someone else?
Because
Exactly.
That's what they all was saying.
the point is to slut shame her. That's the thing. The point is to cast her in this light as somebody who is um for the streets. Like in my mind, that's the accusation behind that.
And
And it
I
doesn't work because that's not even her brand. So, sir, it's like it's a failed attempt.
It's not
Okay.
even about if it's her brand or not. At the end of the day, if the narrative is that you haven't wanted her for a long time, you don't want her, she only wants you. The last thing you need to be worried about is who she's messing with and this and that and the other. You need to be encouraging her to move on. Then,
yeah, that's how she's around. You shouldn't even care. You should have been like, okay, I'm happy for her. Same way you were happy for her to be going through all those problems that she is now.
And let's be clear, this isn't only for women who are dating. It this applies for women who are married too. You do not
I
know.
agree.
You do not know. Somebody can be a or appear to be a great spouse, and then when that baby comes, my God, today. I mean, we've seen it. And if you're watching any kind of reality TV, I'll say specifically Real Housewives of Atlanta, you have a lady on there who was married, have, you know, 3 biological children with her husband. She does have a an elder daughter that is not with him. And they're going through a very nasty divorce. And this man literally said, I don't want to have nothing to do with you or them kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically F him. So I think I just caution myself. I mean, unless obviously if the flags were just absolutely, you know, red from the beginning. It's hard to say, like those things aren't always apparent, right? And so I try not to like beat down on the girls with that and saying like, oh, you know, you should have chose better. Like, she probably thought she did. And guess what happened? She found out that he ain't, you know. So yeah.
But I think that also, when you're young, there's a lure to the guy that's like this. Like there is like I think that in her wanting to mature and get out of the quote unquote Disney phase that a lot of people who get famous young go through. I think that there is a certain amount of, she didn't want to hear, she wanted to have this freedom. Like like the point was to rebel, because and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all had phases, right? But in my mind, like in my mind, there is something there around that. What, like, we all went through that phase. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I agree. We all have gone through that phase, and some women stay. And it's a harsh reality to say that, but like some people go through that phase thinking that they can change a person or they can fix a person, but they end up tearing themselves down and their reputation down trying to do so.
I think who he, I mean, I think the persona he shows online is
Not who
probably,
he really is.
yeah. And
I
he's a
agree.
fake keyboard internet thug. I mean, we saw it when the guy called him doo doo garbage to his face, and then your brother had to run up and
And his
give
brother
him
didn't even do much. It was really a
exactly.
security guard. If you look from the other angle, his brother ran up from the guy from behind and like tackled him down, but like he didn't really even do much. And I think it also came out that that was just like a skit. And I think a lot of things that he does is like for his rollout for his album. I think when he was saying like he was missing Halo so much, he dropped his album also, and it failed. But I think that was a lot of the reason why he was so adamant, like saying, "Oh, I'm going through this and I'm going through that." He wanted people to feel sorry for him. It was basically like a PR stunt, and it failed. But I think
Yeah,
he was
and
never.
but that's why I was showing the clip with Woo Wop in the beginning, because I'm like, this is someone who has a history of positioning his family, to be content, whether for better or worse. You know what I mean? And this is someone who is a professional troll. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, she seems like someone who has I know I'm a very calm person. I don't like a lot of noise and craziness going on around me. So me personally was just like, I don't even know how you can stand it, girl. Because I remember when what's her name? Melissa McCarthy. She was Ursula in the movie. I
Mhm.
remember Melissa McCarthy was talking about being with Halle on set, and she was saying how Halle would just be sitting and they all would have headphones on, and everybody would
I've
be
seen
mic'd
that
up,
as well.
and Halle would just be sitting and like singing to herself or humming, and they were all hearing how like the grip guy and everybody would just be almost moved to
Listening,
tears by her just sitting so peacefully and
yeah.
just singing to herself. So it's like I never could understand the appeal. I never
Mm-hmm.
could understand the appeal.
I
Because
agree.
she's like, she represents a come up for him. She is definitely a prize for him, even if she doesn't realize it. I think that being with somebody who's so lauded as a talent, and was being so welcomed by the industry, um is like, we can understand the appeal of Halle, and we can understand what he thought that her image was going to do for his brand. He thought that he was getting his Beyonce, his, you know what I mean?
Now
Mm-hmm.
And
I wasn't going to go ahead and keep talking, but it's something. It's funny because it's another
Right.
one of the text messages.
It's a and it's something else we all can see because the Met Gala happened this year. He was not in those spaces that he was when he
No,
was
yeah,
with.
because remember what was that, the Grammys? Remember
Hmm.
he was there with her at the Grammy. You know how they
He
all
was
had the
at the Met Gala
after
last year.
party and they
Hmm.
all
Yeah.
took that picture. I remember, and I'm like, he should not be there.
No, but he hasn't been in those spaces since he hasn't been with her. So she put him in rooms that he would never be able to be in. And I think that was the only
Yep.
reason why he was so adamant about being with her. It wasn't about him being in love with her. I think almost to the point that he probably didn't even want to have a kid with her. But I think the amount of publicity he got with having her pregnant, and even though we didn't know, we all suspected it, but
I
I
mean,
think
here's
that
the
was the thing.
thing. When it came to that pregnancy though, because it was so close to
the Little
um
Mermaid.
The movie,
the
yeah.
Little Mermaid, I knew it had something to do with that. And I can't at this point,
Hmm.
I can't say I know for certain who was at the time. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like she did it or allowed it to happen in order to reassure him.
I
Yeah,
agree.
she loved that man. His insecurity was was something he put on display all the time, and you can tell that she was constantly managing. Like between the song and the saying that he was insecure, like it's one of those of like you could tell that this was something that was always looming over their relationship. And so I think that that makes sense. I also think that um, he played himself because he thought that by impregnating her, he would become the wholesome good guy in my mind, or at least become more interesting. But
You're so right. You're so right because of
I
how he
agree. Yes.
always talk about her persona. Oh, you think she's this girl? She has this good girl persona. Blah 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 blah. So I think you're right. He was jealous of that.
yeah,
And he
I
will
mean,
always say it in a kind way. Like when he replied to people, he'd be like, "Oh, y'all think Holly is this and that. She's nothing like that." But we all took it as like, "Oh, she's like down to earth." And he was really just like trying to bash her.
Oh yeah, I forgot about too. Remember when? So she had the baby, and she got the baby, and everybody's like, "Oh, the baby." Remember, she wouldn't show the baby face, but she would like put him on live stream and stuff, and she was like twisting his neck and stuff, like going through theatrics. That was one of the things that when I say she was with the shits, because I was like, "Girl, you ain't even got to do all that. Just don't put him on camera." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You about to snap
I
the
mean,
baby?
Halle started
Yeah.
on the internet. You got to understand Halle's career. She is also an internet person, you know, like Halle started on YouTube. So I think the content creation was a place where there was respect and synergy, you know, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just think that it went sour when it became something that they had to be mature about because I it seems like Halle was into him, but he was into himself, and he was into this idea that he was this up and coming, and his woman would end up diminishing as his star rise, and
Mhm.
it didn't turn out that way. And I think that
It
that
made him bitter.
it made him
Yeah,
bitter.
Yeah.
it didn't do what he thought it was going to do for him.
Exactly, because he can see now that without her being like with him on his side, those doors has closed for him, and we've
Because he
all
looks
seen
like
it.
the bad guy. Like he looks like, and this is the part that is for me the miscalculation on guys on that who are like him. They think that just because you are named dad or you are with a woman that it launders your image entirely. But if you mess with the wrong one, the public will take that person's side because we definitely do like Halle more than we like DDG as a
Right?
populace.
Yeah, and I think that's
So
where people get it mixed up because he's famous in like the streaming and influencer world, but Holly is known in so many different areas and all over the world, for different things. And I think that's where he wanted to be, but I guess that all failed when they broke up.
and I think that he was trying to diminish her good girl image, diminish her persona as a like he was trying to take her down on his like as a revenge for not wanting to be with him. But ultimately, like Halle, I think, is a lover girl, and I think that the even when you think about the songs that she did once she went out on her own, she's a lover girl. She's a very deep person, and I am just kind of like I hope that she's able to find her footing again, because I don't think she needs the good girl image as much. Like I think that she can
Yeah,
I think that there's enough space for her to mature and move on without having to like downplay, you know what I mean, the impact of being a single mom at a young age. Do you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
think this situation will mature her and put her in a different light for all of her like supporters.
But it doesn't have to be bad. Like I think that
No, not in a bad way. No, not at all.
right,
No.
because like I think that that's the same thing that Kiki Palmer's ex was trying to do. Like
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, but Kiki Palmer is now even more loved, more
Hmm.
celebrated. Like The baby mama image does not stain the same way it did before, thank God.
No, because it lets her supporters know how we can watch her grow up. Like Kiki Palmer, in that sense, we watched her grow from like a child star to an amazing young woman now. So like, I think that's the same route that Hollywood go.
It says majority of black women are male centered. Welcome, Devonda Pittman, by the way. I haven't seen you before, so welcome. Um, and they end up with men like Dodo because they raise their daughters sheltered. We're failing them and not teaching them self worth isn't found in a man. That's such a true thing because I came up pretty sheltered and like I've had
Me
conversations.
too.
I've discussed it before about how getting out into the world and interacting with men. I had no idea about the
Mhm.
way the men thought. I had no idea about the fact that they will sit there and put a lot of time and energy into like keeping you interacting with them, doing stuff like he was doing, claiming up and down that he didn't want to be with her, which I believe he probably don't want to be with her, right? But still investing in making you feel like they want to be with you because they're so worried about what you're doing and and how that can get lost in translation because what person in their reasonable mind is going to think that someone's going to be investing their time and energy into keeping somebody they don't want from living their life, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, girl, it is crazy, and I think that we underestimate men's pettiness.
yes, yep.
We in us saying that they don't, like, in us saying they don't have feelings, and in us making it look like they're so logical and all the above, we dismiss the things that they do that are out of emotion and pettiness and vindictiveness, and we don't name it as such because, oh, he's acting, he like, we don't name it as petty, vindictive, childish stuff.
But
You
you
know what
know
I mean?
what? When it comes to this idea of men being logical, and I'm gonna say it more and more and more, and remember that I said this, spread it around, tell your friends I said it. Logic is subjective to your objective. Logic isn't a one size fits all thing. Logic is your frame of how you think about what it is your goal is or the conclusion is you're trying to come to. So if we're both in a quote unquote relationship of some kind and your objective is to get me to sleep with you no matter what, and my objective is to be in a relationship, what they'll
Mhm.
say is, oh, well, you wanting to be in a relationship was illogical. It's not, especially considering the context of how y'all want. Isn't that how y'all want women to think? Isn't that what y'all want women to want?
Hmm.
What's illogical is putting
I
women in a
agree.
position when they think about that type of stuff and when they want that type of stuff to always be having these adverse experiences. So now you're seeing the birth rate dropping. Now you're seeing women say, "No, I'm good."
Hmm.
On
You
y'all.
put that in a great way.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Thank you. Who that? 2 L's. You went away. You're back. Oh, let me read this.
Girl, my iPad died.
Let me read this real quick. This is what I was talking about. That's funny since somebody had brought up Jay Z. It says, I need to work on becoming more successful like Jay Z, like you said. Then maybe you'll take my vision of becoming a big label owner serious instead of shitting on my dreams every second you get. So, okay, this is confirming you're insecure.
But
Oh,
also
these are
that
messages.
go ahead, you say what you're saying
No,
first.
no, I'm sorry. I was just reading the message. I didn't know that he said this. This is new information for me.
It's
Yeah.
crazy because this is it's so predictable because, like, men have these goals in their mind that are so shallow. You become Jay-Z by being Jay-Z first, not by having Beyonce. Like, you had to be Jay-Z first, and he is trying to stand on her shoulders, but Jay-Z doesn't stand on Beyonce's shoulders. And I don't, and this is not me praising Jay-Z, but what I'm thinking, what's coming up for me is that, like, in his childish, oh, it's the same thing with Jonathan Majors and my Coretta to my Martin Luther King. Like, it's these delusions of grandeur that they're putting on the women in their life to make them be somebody that they're not willing to commit to being. Like,
Yeah,
they're
like
not
just
willing to
be
do
that
the work.
guy. And the thing is, You just be great. What she say? Why men great till they gotta be great? Just be great. Just be great. Stop comparing yourself to this guy or that. What do you have to offer? What do you have to offer?
Listen, DVD was never gonna be Jay-Z because you first have to have talent, sir. You don't. Your music be flopping. Nobody's running out to get your singles. No one's streaming,
Feel like
beloved.
he did
Like,
it, but there was something somebody had brought up since Jay Z got brought up, and the other thing somebody had brought up that he actually had spoken about getting a chance to talk with Jay Z and asked Jay Z like for some advice about his about how to be great in his music career, or whatever. And Jay Z said, if you open a Chinese store, people won't be coming there looking for Chinese food. So just give them what they came for. So basically, they're like, stick to what you know. People want to see you stream, just stream.
Yep.
Just stream. That's what you're good at.
yeah, he went chasing waterfalls when he should have just stuck to the rivers and the lakes that he's used to. Nobody knows you for your music, sir.
Or being a
They know you for
fashionable
being
person.
a Twitch streamer.
Now
Like,
I
Like,
know that he is
chill
tired of these
out.
people bringing up him, Rock Nation, Beyonce, every like it's crazy. They're like the boogeyman now.
and
Every
also he
something
wasn't
happens.
committed to becoming somebody who was good at this thing. Like you can't you can't circumvent the process. And that's something that I have been reflecting on today since, like this afternoon. Like the process is the process. Like he wanted his fame to be able, his Twitch screen to be able to translate to something else without having to go through the process of being good. Because his girl is Halle. He does have those connections. He could figure out a way to find his own sound and to build that up until it's ready. But instead, he wanted to jump over the process that Halle did take, because Sally's been doing this since she was a child, and and then he wanted to circumvent the requirements of all of that. And it's like, sir, first of all, like even when you think about the Drake of it all, like the guy who is crying about his feelings all the time. And I used to like Drake, so I don't mind a sensitive man, but you built up an audience of alpha men and then you wanted to release Drake music? Stop. Like you're not like this is like and then you're mad that you made this bed of douches around you that aren't willing to support you in something that they don't support. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like he's not he to me this is giving I don't I get money, I don't add value.
no, actually, his supporters will sniff the crotch of his drawers if they could. I promise you. It is the other people, the masses, who could care less. There are many people who don't know who DVD is, and they didn't know who he was until this stuff happened. They know Halle Bailey. That's who they know, and they're like, "Oh, I can assure you." For those who do know her, and they said, "Oh, do you know who DVD is?" They will be like, "Oh, her baby daddy." And he don't. A lot of men don't like that. Like even to this day, like Jay-Z has his own career, but best believe he's known as Beyonce's husband. You understand me? Like, and you have to have a certain confidence within yourself to be known as someone's spouse, especially as a man. Like being referred to as Beyonce when you've had a career before Beyonce, before Beyonce probably does titillate his little ego. But he had to get over it because your wife is a mega star. Like what either you're gonna be down with it, you're gonna lay down, get down or lay
Okay.
down. So yeah, and
I don't think Jay Z had a
that's
problem
just
with
what it
that. I
is.
think Jay Z seen that in Beyonce when she like first started. I think that was one of the main reasons why he encouraged her to like go solo.
I disagree, but I hear
Yeah.
I
you.
think that Jay-Z, I don't know anything about their relationship, but I will say that it probably helped that Jay-Z had a life before Beyonce, and
True.
DDG is somebody who was trying to ride the fame of his partner.
Yeah.
So the insecurity was so clear because you really didn't have your own identity to stand on. And I think that that's crucial when it comes to being a successful woman. To I mean, granted, I'm not pretending that I know everything, but it's like I think that one of the things that really sets men up for success in these relationships with women that end up having their own is there being rooms where you have your own, there being places where that you having your own mission. Like if your mission is to get money and you don't have values you're working off of or a goal in mind, it's easy for you to feel overshadowed by your partner over shallow stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, Jay-Z was already Jay-Z when he met Beyonce. He went, his career
Exactly.
got to a certain point, Beyonce's got to a certain point, and he said, you know what? You do you. I'm gonna go here and be a businessman now. Because he was aging out anyway. You know
But
what I
as a
mean?
businessman, he saw that potential too. We can say that much as in Beyonce.
Yeah. So it's just like for you to come in, it's like you were just always in competition. And I think that's something else that younger women have to like look out for as well. Because I know that was a big part of with my oldest daughter's father, what the contention was between us was him seeing certain things in me that he wanted for himself. Like there's certain aspects where I'll sit and say straight up, I think he wanted to be me. You know what I mean? Because the stuff he would say and stuff he would be, oh, you think you're this and you're thinking. I'm like, what are you even talking about?
Or
And
they could be in competition with you. You can secretly be with of someone who you think that you're growing something together, and you're not. You're secretly in competition with your other half.
Yeah.
yeah,
And what do you do with that? And like I said, now you're to a point where you have a child with this person. You want the best outcome for your child. What do they say the best outcome is? A nuclear family, father in the home, all that other stuff. So you running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to make it work, bending yourself into all kinds of pretzels and loops, trying to make it work with this person who ultimately hates you.
because
And
they hate that they don't have a life without you. Like I think that the male ego is such that men who are um like because men follow men and men gain their identity from from their obsession with comparing themselves to other men, that if you are in a situation with a person that you feel overshadowed by, it's like that person is taking away the future you feel entitled to. You get what I'm saying? Like it's one of those of like I think that it with like one of the fundamental problems with his mindset and the reason why he attracts people like Aiden Ross and why he- any woman that is not somebody who's there to be arm candy for this man's ego is gonna have a problem, is is fundamentally because he's getting his street cred from the look of the woman rather than his own talent. You get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And let yes, Jay Z definitely. I was a huge Jay Z
He
fan. Like
also.
I am a woman of a particular age. Yes, the very first album, all the things. But let's be clear, because even Beyonce said it in her songs. Take me just to compliment the deal. There would have been rooms that he would not have been, and tables that he wouldn't have been accepted in, clearly because of his past. And no matter how much money he amassed, he still hit the glass ceiling in certain places. Whereas Beyonce was tapped in a different audience, if you will, and she had her father, Matthew. Like there were other rooms that he couldn't possibly navigate in without her. So yeah, her being his wife, girlfriend, what have you, definitely helped. Definitely got him to the next level. And yes, they helped each other. I'm not trying to knock his accolades. I'm just saying,
Right.
like,
You can't because
Beyonce
yeah,
helped.
because Jay Z was Jay Z before, like you said before. Jay Z was Jay Z before. he meant Beyonce, but at the end of the day, you can also see that he saw that potential in her when they met.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah,
So
but I feel like you should, when you, if you're going to be in a relationship and you want to marry and this and that and the other, and y'all are career people, right? It should be
exactly,
a thing of like, how can we grow each other?
edge together. Yeah, I
Right.
agree.
Hey,
But you
it's murder.
And look what they have built. It's already there.
Yeah. No, they built an empire.
And
An
that's why people are
empire.
like so afraid, like, oh my God, like Rock Nation, they can do this and they can do that. And it's not totally that. I think people are more so intimidated by them and by them being such a united couple. I think
Yeah.
that is what makes
I
people
agree.
intimidated.
And I
It,
think that Jay-Z also has lanes that are not about his music. Like I
Exactly.
I think that the fact that Jay-Z is not Jay-Z just a musician, but Jay-Z the mogul, like he is able to, because he was trying to hang up that jersey how many times?
A
How many
lot.
times did Jay-Z
A
try
lot.
to?
But we have to agree. You know how many times people have called Jay-Z out to just be like, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Like, let's not take that away from him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early 2000s, he was trying to wear what he called it, button-up shirts. Had people calling damn dress shirts button-up shirts. Like, listen, that what I say, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried
Okay,
to
we gotta
shirt
be from
that,
the same era
but
then, yeah, because we know.
murder. Hello.
Hello.
What do you have for us?
Can you guys hear me? You guys
Yeah,
are on like my Bluetooth speaker.
we can hear you.
Okay, cool. No, I was just gonna say like these men, like the types of men that these girls get with, I don't know. I think it's so hard to talk to the girls because they don't want to listen, and we've all been there. We don't, we all have not listened to our elders or other women or other people. But I
Mhm.
think like the best way to learn is, for me, I think, to listen to people and with a grain of salt, and then like not let things get so far that they're out of hand and you get to a point of no return. And I think that's why a lot of black people specifically hate people like Megan Thee Stallion or Lori Harvey, because once a relationship gets to a point where it's just too toxic or they feel like they want to leave, they leave. And I think the young girls, like the girls like Kiki Palmer or specifically Haley, is they feel like they shouldn't leave or they can't leave. And I think we do need to do a better job of just letting people know that they can leave relationships. Like it's okay to leave a black man. It doesn't matter. Like you
I
don't
don't,
have to build with a black man. You don't have to build.
but
Like you
can
can
we
let
grapple
him.
with something here? Because I think
Hmm.
this is part where we do with that. Either it's all this one person is right and this other person is wrong, or vice versa, or whatever. Also, I think we need to grapple with there are some women who just really want to be in relationships with people. Like they really want to have a man. And that's not a bad thing. Like
Mhm.
that's not a bad thing. They should be able to do that. They should be invested in it if they're going to be with someone. Like I always say, I can't really get, or I evolved to a point where I could say to myself, you know what? If a woman is choosing to be with her man, like Halle, if she was actively choosing to be with him, while she was actively choosing to be with him, she was not vilifying him, at least not to us. You know what I mean? She was standing tall in her decision with her choice. She said, I love this man. This is who I love. This is who I want to be with. And that's how she was showing up. She was embodying that. And I think that's amazing. Thank you, baby. And I think that's, that makes a lot of sense, rather. It's not necessarily amazing in this particular case, but it makes a lot of sense. And so that is the work that we have to do of like helping women to be able to reconcile this idea of like, okay, I really do want to be coupled with
I'm
that
not.
fear of being alone, even for a minute.
No,
Mm.
I'm not saying that they should be afraid of being coupled. I'm saying like they should be unafraid of uncoupling with somebody. Like you don't have to stay with somebody and build
But that's what
somebody
I
who's
mean.
actively competing with you. Like you're not building, they're competing with you.
But
And
in this society, we put street cred on people for having umpteen years in a relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
socially, we have to change the conversation around putting we've been together for 50 years and say that this is a crowning achievement in our community. Like, we need to be willing to ask more questions when people start hyping up being together for its own sake, because
We watched
I
this
can agree with that
couple
too.
a couple weeks ago sitting up on dear future wifey, talking about, oh, we've been together for 25 years, and you explain how y'all shouldn't have been.
yeah.
Right.
exactly. Like
Y'all
you don't
shouldn't have
have
made
to
it
be
first
a
time.
man's ride or die. Like you can let him go. Like you can want
But
to
also,
hold
I don't
somebody
want to
down, but
ignore.
that doesn't mean they hold you down because that's what's
I can
happening ultimately. The men are holding
But
the
I
women
don't think
back.
we should
I can agree with that. Go ahead.
ignore the shame that comes with, like Vitamin and I were speaking about earlier, and not necessarily wanting to be with the guy specifically, but wanting to keep their
Because
family
you're going to
intact.
get
And
dragged.
that's
That's what they do. As soon as these girls get
exactly.
pregnant, what happens? Oh, she's a baby mama. She doesn't have a ring. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Hmm.
And then, of course, when stuff like this starts happening in the relationship, because you could always be like, oh, well, we're together, we will get married one day. But then when he decides he don't want you no more, and now you sitting there looking stuck, and then he jumps on the bandwagon and dragging you too for being a baby mother. Offset.
Yep.
I mean, but I think that, like, the culture around shaming women in terms of men talking about, oh, I put a baby in you, so I own you for life. We as women need to figure out ways to influence the system so that that is not true. Because let's just be on, I'm not saying that we need to take kids away from their fathers, but we also know that it like, these arrangements are often to the danger and detriment of the woman when the guy does want to show up. Like, sometimes the best case scenario is that he doesn't want to parent, you know what I mean? But the guys who are becoming, who are pretending to want to be active fathers or want to be active fathers, there are like, these women still have to have these men have access to them in ways that are so unfair and dangerous. How many times have we heard that, a woman left a guy, and then the police didn't believe her when she said that there was danger in the home. Like, we leave a lot of women like this system leaves women vulnerable by design to men having to be in their space. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not just that, of putting the scarlet letter on you again, because you're not, shout out to Erica De Niro, you're not in proximity to a man. So because you are a single mother, you're supposed to just be open for business. If I want to come and use you and discard you, it's this really disgusting term that they use of a woman being for recreation. And these are the ways people are talking. Then you had that other blob of a man sitting on that little podcast talking about some, oh, where's it going to get me if I tell a woman I just want to use her for sex, and I don't like her, and I don't see a future with her, and I think she's ugly, and all of these things. They're not saying this stuff, but that's how they're walking around thinking about women, that they're still interacting with, that they're still winding up getting pregnant, and then they'll turn around and blame. It's a cycle.
It is a cycle, and we have to put protections in place that are about our vantage point, that are to our benefit, because we can't continue letting the system stay like this, where a man that wants to have proximity to you can just get you pregnant, and they own you for the rest of their life. Because here in the South, that's very real. Like a man that you have had a
I
baby
agree.
with can truly haunt you forever, and have a right to be around you for and stalk you essentially for the rest of your life. Like, I watched this video years ago of a woman that was moved, that married a man in America, then she moved to Iran with him, and and they got married, and they had a baby. He got abusive. This is a white woman, and because she got married in Iran, she couldn't move back. She's now her husband's property. Obviously that's not the situation here, but ultimately it is a mindset that is, if you have a baby by a man, he owns you. He has a right to access to you forever.
And that's what I was saying. Like, that's why there's a lot of vitriol for women who also leave these relationships before these things can happen to them, because it's almost like some people prefer them to be stuck. Like, they feel like, oh, why are you breaking up with him? Why is the relationship going sour? I mean, that's none of our business why they're breaking up, but we should be also praising people who leave situations that are toxic, or just women who leave situations because they don't want to be with somebody anymore. Sorry, it's raining and it's starting to rain.
Are you driving?
Also,
Be careful.
No, I'm picking up food and I'm waiting. I was waiting for my food and now it started to rain. So now I gotta get wet when I go get my food. So just sit in the car.
Oh, be careful. I mean popcorn. All right, so I felt my blood sugar dropping. So I'm gonna go ahead and everybody can go around and give their final thoughts. We're gonna start with two L's, then concern, and then I'm sorry I can't see your name and your new. So I'm so sorry. Oh, two L's is down there, not two L's. This is up here. Trinice, is that your name?
Me,
Yes.
it's Talissa Renee.
Talissa. Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
I'm like, I can't, I'm trying to remember because I can't see the name. Talissa Renee,
Yeah.
then concern, then two L's, and then it's murder. I'm going by, how you guys are up on the screen.
No, I don't have nothing else really pretty much to say. I wanted to piggyback off what she was saying about like how when black women leave certain types of relationships, that like especially when you're young, I can speak for myself by saying this, when you're young and you are in a relationship with someone and then you end up having kids with them, you end up getting ridiculed by like the people in your neighborhoods or the people who know you, and they look at you like, oh, you can't leave now by you being a young black mother, like you're supposed to stay with that man and you're supposed to do this. And I can speak for that, me having like kids at a very young age, and that is how like the society is. That's how they look at us, and like thinking that we supposed to stay in those type of situationships or relationships or whatever. But that's pretty much all I had to say.
Thank you so much for coming up. I'm so glad.
Thank
Welcome
you
to
too.
the
I really
stage.
enjoyed talking to you guys.
Absolutely. Come anytime. I can't promise you I'm going to be like a certain set time. I'm like DDG with that. I'm loosey goosey. But when I'm here,
Yeah,
set the bell button so you know when I come.
I
Um,
will. I will.
and let your girlfriends know because we here trying to have these conversations. It's important to have them, and I wanted to have them in a way that I hadn't seen anybody having them. It's hard out here for black women and black single
Next
mothers.
time I have my notifications on, and then we'll talk again.
All right,
Bye, guys.
bye.
Bye.
Go ahead, concern.
I'm glad that you've taken this direction with your channel. I think it's doing so much good work. Also, I am so excited to rub DGD's nose in this for the rest of his life, because she will rise. And this weapon, the idea of him trying to mooch off of her is so pathetic that there's truly, like, it just goes to show how fragile the alpha male image is. And so I just think, closing, like, I want this to be something she does not hide away from, that she continues to not identify with, not from a, not DDG, but she now can speak for and relate to the black women that have experienced stuff like this in ways that if she had kept her squeaky clean image where that is curated through Disney, she might not have been able to show demonstrate a relationship with the black women experience. And I don't mean to say, like, I'm a black woman that's in mid 30s that doesn't have kids. I'm not trying to say that, you know, to have babies young is to be a black woman, but what I'm saying is that I hope that she now starts to see the women that are like, she starts to see the community with other black women and see who really has her back right now, because I think those are they're black women. And so the women that she was like, oh, go touch grass, you're jealous, like, I hope this creates a bridge.
I'm so glad you said that, because absolutely, like, I hope that this is a learning lesson for her and other people, that like, to not just automatically do that thing where you're like, oh, these girls are haters, but to really kind of ask yourself, okay, is there any kind of truth to what that I can see from my vantage point to what they're saying? You know what I mean? And like, move accordingly. Because even in those text messages and stuff in the court documents, it was sounding like she, especially when you said like she wanted to get the abortion, it sounded like your intuition was telling you some of the same stuff that other people outside of you were telling you. So that's why I said it had to be really hard for her combating with the external stuff and the internal stuff. But thank you so much, Concern, for your contribution to the conversation. You know, you're always welcome up here. You always give such thoughtful such thoughtful perspectives.
Thank you. Hopping down.
Go ahead to Els.
Oh, shout out to everybody. I had fun. I love that line. Few things. One, ladies and gents and non-binary, whoever, um, get a parenting plan if you're not married. No matter if you guys are amicable now, just have something established. That way, when if and when things get ugly, you don't have to go through the rigmarole. You know, it creates a boundary and establishes things for all parties involved. It will save you a lot of headache. Also, add child support. um, for the married mamas, you know, think about yourself and your children. You primarily, you know, don't listen to the sad sob story. Go with your intuition. You know, have the judge write up a parenting plan that is, you know, conducive for you and the children, but you, because most likely the children will be with you. So, you know, you want to make sure that custody or a parenting plan is beneficial, more importantly, for the children. Um, and I would say, I do hope it's a learning lesson for Haley. It's not, this is not just exclusive to black women, because women of all the colors and all of the races, if you will, are dealing with it. Ethnicities, they're dealing with it. We just watched something in a Discord about the lady going through it, a white woman. So, you know, don't think this is just a black woman experience. It is not. It's not just exclusive to these black men. It is not the white men, all the men's, they do it. You know, when mad day comes and they want to throw the kids and you to the side, they will do it. So you have to have things in place to protect yourself and your children. Um, and don't worry about getting the courts involved. That's why they're there. You know, have some boundaries established. So when he violates, you know, you have some leverage. And I was saying, don't think it can't happen to you unless you, one, go the Ebony K route and do solo parenting from the giddy up. That I just want to put that out there because I think it's easy
Did
to
she
say
have
it
her
could never
baby
be
yet?
me until it. Yeah, she had her
Have a
baby.
4-year-old
Her baby should be like 1. I think she had a
Oh, rest
daughter.
in peace.
Um, you know, unless you're going the Ebony K. Williams route, or you just opting out of having children, just don't think it could never be you. And even if you are partnered, married, stuff happens. If you're a woman of a particular age or a person of a particular age, and you know you've lived through some things that you can say, oh, it could never be me. And then life will show you. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, too, Els. You know, you're always
I
I
love
love you too.
you.
Thank you for coming up and talking with me.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. Bye,
Bye.
y'all.
And just know what she said is so true because I had a friend who's in her 40s and I would do her hair and stuff. And I remember she was like, oh, I'm having a party at my house. And she was talking to me. And I forget how we was talking. I think she called somebody and they was like, did you tell her what the party was for? She's like, oh, it's a baby shower. She got pregnant, wound up going through all this stuff with the baby father. She was in her 40s. So it can happen to you at any time. But go ahead, murder.
Hello, I'm back. Um,
You
I just
sound
want to
low.
say hello.
You sound low.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but
Yes,
really, really, really low.
that's weird. Hold on. Maybe if I turn off my Bluetooth. Sound better? Sound better? Okay, cool. Um, I just want to say to the girls, the femmes, everybody, prioritize yourself above anything else. Maybe you do want to be partnered and maybe you do want the relationship to work. But if you are not feeling 100%, 1000%, if this person, whoever they are, man, woman, um, alien, fish, spaceship, if they're showing you signs that they're not the person, if they're insecure, if they're making you feel like you have to help them keep their career or help them get on socially, financially, whatever, it's okay to the left, everything you own in the box to the left. So it's okay to let things go. Like there's plenty of fish in the sea. You don't have to stay with people just because you like them a whole lot, and you don't have to be somebody's couple goals. You don't have to be Jay-Z and Beyonce. Jay-Z and Beyonce are Jay-Z and Beyonce. You can still want those things, but that doesn't mean you just should accept anything from anybody hoping to get the same outcome. So, and also, you know, if you have a kid by these dudes and he don't want to act right, send them kids to live with their daddy. Like you want to be a father, you want to be an active father. Okay, get sole custody. Drop these kids off. If they want to be the dads in the community, let them. And you go and you live your life. You go find your happily ever after. You go be the stepmama to somebody else's kids because they have no problem leaving your kids in the dust to go play stepdaddy to somebody else's kids. No, you go be stepmama to somebody else's kids and leave him with that baby. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with leaving a man if you don't have kids, if you want to have kids, if you do have kids. If it's time to go, you know, just be okay with that. It didn't work out. And that doesn't mean that you're a failure, and it doesn't mean that you're taking a black man down. It doesn't mean that you're taking somebody down or ruining their life because you're choosing yourself. Because at the end of the day, you got to live with you. And that should be the most important thing. Is your happiness, your mental health, your physical health. So, you know, if he going to crash out, let him crash out by himself. Or let him crash out with that baby in the backseat of the car. And
You
you go to Italy for
know,
2
Chris, I with
months.
the baby because but yes, I agree with you in general. But I don't need him doing nothing around that baby, doing nothing to that baby. You
Look,
know,
they don't care about you crashing out because you want to go on a carnival cruise for 2 weeks and you done already took off work, but all of a sudden they not answering the phone.
listen, the stories, right? The
Y'all better
stories
drop
I
these
have
kids like they hot while you still can.
like they hot. Well, thank you, Berta, for
You welcome.
friend of the channel. Okay.
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, guys, I want to take one last minute second to plug my book. This is Level Up: The Single Mother's Guide to Reclaiming Her Dignity. This was the book we were using to draw the parallels in this case study. This is a case study. This is the book we'll be using for all the other case studies moving forward. To just let you know, because this is a unique situation. I don't remember who exactly was saying it, but like us being able to have these conversations in this way and be real about why it is this happens. So we'll have these conversations in different spaces, and there'll be a lot of judgment. There'll be, I don't know why, and da-da-da-da-da-da. This is where we can have those conversations about really why unpack these things. If you're new to this channel, if you're not familiar with this channel, you can go back in my catalog and watch the way that I talk about these type of subjects in relation to single motherhood, dating, sex, all those types of things, abuse, neglectful parenting, all those things. We're going to talk about all of it here. We do talk about all of it here because my goal is to get mothers to a point where you recognize that your life is still your life. A lot of the stuff that we go through, that we put ourselves through with and through these men, is because we don't think there are any other better options for us, because we became the dreaded single mother in the wild. And so I want to unpack that so that we can know that we are still people, our lives are still our own, and we can still self-actualize and live the best possible lives. And we need to do that more than ever, because we got to teach our babies how to do it, so they're not going out into the world perpetuating more pain. That is literally what generational curses are. So I'm not going to sit here, right? Period. Yes, catalog. Okay, I've been working. I've been putting in the work. I've been screaming into the void, and now you guys are here, so we're going to talk together. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for sitting with me. We're just over 3 hours, period. And I will see you next time. Again, I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but I have like a bunch of thumbnails I already made up about stuff I want to talk about. Like this one was sitting in the chamber for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we'll see. Thank you so much, Run and Tell. I'm proud of y'all too. I'm proud of us. And I can't wait for this community to continue to grow, for us to continue to bond, the different communities that I have been a part of. I've met so many wonderful, amazing, smart, accomplished women. Like I said in a previous live, was it earlier this week or last week? I didn't know. I had an idea about who I was going to be attracting with this channel. I did not know I was going to be attracting like such fucking amazing powerhouse women. So I'm still like reeling from that, and so grateful, so honored. So I'm doing my absolute best to live up to that. But anyway, I can go on and on all night. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys on the next one.